Dynamite! Wednesday night, Don-O-Mite!
So Dynamite.
This is awesome! This is this. Hey, everybody! Have a great time!
I'm not one of these f***ing goof podcasters out there. I am Don Tony, Wednesday night, Dynamite! Remember last week I said that I think this week's rating for Wednesday night wrestling will be one of the biggest since the debuts took place. We can't count week 1 or week 2, but this is going to be combined one of the biggest ratings in quite some time. Said that last week. I think after tonight, we kind of agree. Maybe the outcome of some of the matches we weren't too thrilled about, but we'll talk about it. And there is a special reason why I'm wearing this shirt tonight. I'm sure a lot of you are already aware of it. But before anything, let me get into the particulars. What's up, everyone? I am Don Tony, and right off the bat, welcome to this edition of Wednesday Night Dynamite, May 6th, 2020. I am Don Tony, as always. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. Big shout out to everybody tuning in live on YouTube. Big shout out to everybody who is checking out the stream on Twitch. You know, just testing it out right now. If everything stays smooth, it'll go full-blown next week. We'll have a chat room going for Twitch as well. And it's going to make Mondays a little bit complicated. By the way, shout out to Dalvin. It's going to get a little complicated on Monday because my goal is to have 3 streams going. And I use a laptop. Oh, shit. The fuck? You know what happened? Marco, shout out to you, my brother. It worked, but there's no balloon in there. Marco Matticoli. What's up, Goomba? You know, I have everything set up that, you know, you contribute, you know, to the DT fund, which I always put right back in the show. You know that. Based on a certain amount. Balloons will go off. I'll pop streamers. Who knows? Maybe I'll eat, like, the Bean Boozled challenge during the shows in the future. Just trying to have it interactive and at the same time give everybody their money's worth. Thank you, Marco, for that. And Dalvin Brown, still waiting on the package. You know, I got to go check that out, Dalvin. Right now is probably not the best time for me to put up customer service and start looking at the postal service, because right now UPS, FedEx, Post Office, you know, they're all late on stuff. Jesus, I'm still waiting for masks that I ordered about 2 or 3 weeks ago that was supposed to come from Texas. And I figured it out. They're not being shipped from Texas. This Matarazzo on eBay is buying the crap on China, claiming that it's being shipped from Texas or they're sewing it from scratch. And me, like a moron, I don't realize that the photos that he's showing on his eBay page are the same photos for Wu-Tang Clan from China selling the masks. So, yeah, so the shipping is still a little bit shangada. I mean, look how long it took for me to get some of these props in the background, but much love. I like that name, Marco Matticoli. Que pasa? You know, that's not Italian, is that? Que pasa? Anyway, man, we got a big show tonight. Gonna try, you know, to cram it within 2 hours, hour and 50 minutes or so. You know, like trying to shove 2 pounds of bologna in a 1 pound bag. You know, so much went down tonight in the world of pro wrestling. You know, as far as the NXT side, I think everybody is buzzing about the debut of Karrion Kross and Scarlett. Don't call me Bordeaux, because a lot of goofs out there probably can't spell her last name. Awesome. We'll talk about that later. Velveteen Dream. Oh, man. You know, I teased it. What do the Clout Chasers, the Velveteen Dream Clout Chasers have in common with the Wizard of Oz? You remember the scene in Wizard of Oz? And I don't have the lyrics in front of me. And sure, I could have cut and paste and just, you know, read it word for word. What was it? Dorothy in a bed. And she's like, "Ain't the end? It was all a dream." And she's like, "No, this is not a dream." That's what all the goofs are doing right now about Velveteen Dream and those accusations from a couple of weeks ago. You know, again, I know it's very easy to get tweet banged, and, you know, if you don't get enough bang the first time you tweet, then you tweet it again and again and again and again and again. You know, whatever it is, the scandal, it's all you had to do is just, and it's boring. It's boring. Number one, when you do the research, it's boring. Not a lot of people like to do it. But when you start adding things up, like, wait a minute, you know, you post all these screenshots, all these video caps and everything, but you don't post the video cap of the actual asking and giving of dick pics. You know, oh, we'll post the dick pic, but we won't post the request or anything like that. When you got 3 different goofs all on Reddit claiming to be at 4 o'clock in the morning, where the chat didn't originate from Reddit, but like, yeah, I see this and that. You know, it's not hard. The worst part about it, and this was the giveaway, the worst part about it was when you had those original people saying, "Hey, man, we don't know if he got hacked or if it was really Dream sending us dick pics." And Dream comes out a couple of hours later and says, "Hey, everybody, I didn't, you know, do this. Somebody took took my pic and my unauthorized use," so he denied it. Couple of hours earlier, those same people, hey man, I don't know if he was hacked or if it really was Dream sending us dick pics. He denies it. Then all of a sudden, that's not good enough. They insisted that it had to be true. How does WWE not say anything? USA Network, I put it on my Twitter earlier today, USA Network advertising Dream. How could they do that? Yup. Remember last week? Yup. Soon as that girl said, "I'm on the phone with the person right now," the person who was ballsy enough to post the dick pic is not ballsy enough to post the report number about the cybercrime that was filed. Remember? "I'm on the phone with them right now. Cybercrime. Yeah, yup, my balls. Seriously, yup, my balls." And again, that's why I said on Monday, I know Charlie Caruso wants to interact on Instagram. Don't put a phone number up to text, have people text you, unless you're prepared for what could be coming your way. Obviously, that girl from Iconic, she couldn't handle it. She says, "Oh, everybody, DM's open." You're a hot girl. You're posing, like, revealing pictures, not nude or anything, but men clamor over you. DM's open. What did you think you were going to get? All gifts of flowers and kittens? Don't do that. Velveteen Dream, if he was chatting at 3 o'clock in the morning, you don't do it, because every goof, you know, is going to, and clout chaser is going to be out there. And if you don't give a teenage clout chaser enough attention, my God, you go on social media, there are people 40s, 50s, and 60s that are clamoring for attention from any everyday goof. But you don't give a celebrity that you're chatting with enough attention, and then they get annoying, and that celebrity kicks you and bans you and boots you, and then all of a sudden you show up in a message board, fuck ends? Come on, man. Seriously. You'd think WWE would put this motherfucker on TV, USA Network promoting him, putting these ads everywhere? They're putting it on there because there's no evidence that this guy did it. If this guy did it, they would have booted him immediately, made this statement, "We don't tolerate stuff." Look at what happened with what was that guy? The guy, he went to, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank right now. He went to Impact Wrestling. He was in WWE 205 Live, and he was accused of, you know, punching his wife or something in the car. Come on, WWE with DUIs, blah, 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 is responsible for his own actions, blah, blah, blah. We take this seriously. Rich Swan, thank you very much, Lion. Seriously, all this, and the best thing is that the goofs on social media two weeks ago that insisted that this had to be true, insisted that it had to be true. They're like, how come WWE not making a statement? They don't fucking owe you nothing. They don't owe you zilch, zero, nada, nothing. So, anyway, I saw the ads for Velveteen Dream. I'm like, you know what? Good. Because they're not trolling the clout chasers online. This is what goofs don't understand online. WWE and USA Network are not trying to troll people online. They're not trying to shove in your face, this fucking alleged pedophile is wrestling for the title tonight. Ha ha! Ha ha! What's that guy from the say? Ha ha! It's not like that. Just because you insist that it has to be true doesn't mean it is true. Yup. There ain't no fucking police report. Yup. I searched. I had other people search. Florida, Washington, Canada. No police report. No alleged. Yup, my ass. So, I'm glad he wrestled tonight. Anyway, I have to open up with this. There's a reason why I'm wearing this shirt today. I have plenty of shirts. Trust me, I was going to wear another shirt tonight. But we unfortunately had a tragic death in the world of pro wrestling. And this hits home for yours truly. Now, look, I'm not going to lie. I wasn't friends with this guy. I wasn't close with this guy. But, I was around him enough back in the early 2002, 3 to be exact, that, I got to, get to know him personally a little bit. I did some work for XPW. But for those that are not aware of it, unfortunately, Supreme, hardcore, king of hardcore, human terror film, whatever they call it at the time, he died. Heart attack in his sleep, 49 years old. Way too young to go. And, it was funny because if anybody remembers my This Week in Wrestling history episodes, if you remember the week where it was the anniversary of Supreme almost burning to death in California in an XPW event because they used lighter fluid. Lighter fluid! And he couldn't put it out, and he's burning his flesh. Then when he cut the promo on Kid Chaos, or Chaos cut the promo on Supreme a week or two later from the park. I remember it clear as day. I remember social media at the time, which was really just message boards and chats. That's really what it was in 2000, or, around that time. They were like, how could this guy gloat that this guy almost burned to death? Not even understanding that, Kid Chaos, Joey Chaos, and Supreme are related. Supreme is his uncle. And they fucking loved each other, and he was a mentor to the guy. And, my God, 49 years old, dying tragically. And, I said this on Twitter earlier. I don't include Terry Funk because the matches I ever saw of Terry Funk live and in person usually were not extremely hardcore. But as far as hardcore wrestling goes, and I went to CZW events and I worked for XPW, but outside of lowlife Louis Ramos, Supreme was my second on my list as far as the enjoying hardcore wrestling live, up, and in person. And I'll share with everybody this little, tidbit. For, as I always talk about how, when I used to work for XPW, their first ever event, Hostile Takeover, and this is what is so cool about this. And I get to brag, but remember, when I brag about things like this, if it wasn't for my extended family out there, that a lot are still tuning in to this day, 18 years later, if it wasn't for all of you, I wouldn't be able to talk about stuff like this. But XPW's first ever event in Philly, Hostile Takeover, all right, if you look at that crowd, remember that 160 of those fans in attendance in ECW Arena didn't have like a tremendous, audience. And especially the XPW setup, they really didn't know how many fans to expect because remember, in 2002, you know, you had PW Insider, which was, I think they were just Pro Wrestling, OneWrestling.com at the time. You had Goofy Mike Johnson, Dave Shearer, that prick. You had Bob McGee, that asshole I still can't believe hasn't like left this earth. And I don't mean that physically, but just, you know, the wrestling earth. He still writes dopey shit. They were putting letters in neighbors' mailboxes. Porn is coming to your neighborhood. Like just trying to show the absolute disgusting part of Rob Black and Extreme Associates. And he did everything they possibly could to shut it down. Boogaloo and Lowrider, who I think were working for Ring of Honor at the time, they were offered a nice payday to come in for XPW and wrestle the Mexico's Most Wanted. And as a result, Ring of Honor was like, fuck you, you're no longer welcome in our company. They called the State Athletic Commission. They made fucking fake news and all this other stuff. There was so much shit going on at the time. And when you see this footage and understand that about half of the crowd there were from my bus trips, that fucking meant so much because so many people, you know, gave it a shot, came from New York, and enjoyed the show. And I'll share with everybody a quick clip of the match that Supreme had at the first ever event in ECW Arena against Angel the Hardcore Homo. And for those that don't know the story, and I'm not going to get into a whole long story right now because we got so much stuff to talk about. But, you know, I was doing work, hyping up, trying to get people to go to the shows. I had a hotline at the time, and that's what led to all of this. And after all of the hard work getting everybody to Philly, promoting the shows, you go to Wayback Machine's website and just type in my website, wrestling-news.com. Go back to 2002 when XPW, a couple of months before, and see all the bullshit, because I would just tell like it is. Just expose so many websites and goofs that were just doing everything they can to shut this fed down. And I was sitting front row, and I was happy. And right before the event, this guy Slash, as much as I don't like him, you know, this was the coolest thing. He comes over to me and he's like, dude, he's like, you want to work the timekeeper's table? I'm like, I've never done that before. He's like, come on, man. You've seen wrestling since 1979. You know how to ring a time bell and this and that, you know. And obviously this progressed into doing other things as months went by. But I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. So he throws me this XPW shirt that I have on right now. This is the actual shirt that I wore for Hostile Takeover. And the shirt was one size too small. So I'm sitting at the timekeeper's table, and most of these guys I never really met before because they're all from West Coast. And Supreme has his match against Angel. And you'll see me at the timekeeper's table. And when they start doing the light tubes and you see the dust going everywhere and you're literally 6 feet away. Talk about social distancing. You're 6 feet away from these light tubes exploding. When I show you this clip at the 30-second mark, just look at my reaction. All right. And this is from the ECW Arena. This is highlights of their original match.
Oh my goodness! Supreme face first into the light bulb. Let's see that one more time, Vince. Take a look. Take a look.
All right, it's coming any second. You'll see me at the table, but the funny thing is, look at my reaction.
No. Oh my goodness! Angel just landed on the light bulbs.
All right, here it comes. It's pretty funny.
And now, obviously,
this is like how here it is. Just look at the right. There I am.
Overhead slam under the table of barbed wire.
Put my hand over my head like, what the fuck am I looking at here?
From the bed of barbed wire onto the concrete floor, it's Supreme from the ring apron, measuring, drops the elbow in the impact of the
guy was a sick son of a bitch, man.
Suplex coming up.
Man, that shit was crazy.
No.
Good memories, man. Good memories.
Just barely blocked himself. Elbow and Angel. Angel elbows the bed of light.
All right, we'll cut this off in a second.
Like Lucy and Charlie Brown with the football power bomb. Oh my goodness, face first. Angel reversing that power
That's crazy
bomb
shit, man.
into a bulldog. And Angel's got to do something now. This could be life-ending. Oh my goodness. No.
All right. So there you go. Oh, man. Great memories, man. Great memories. I'll tell you this much. You know, Supreme, how many stars did Meltzer give that match? Probably -5. But I tell you this much, man. All the times I was around this guy, I never socialized with him outside of, with the Philly stuff. But I always had the impression that he was extremely quiet on the outside, extremely quiet. But a lot of people really looked up to him. I know some people might look at it as garbage, hardcore wrestling, but believe me when I tell you, there was a lot more than that. I know especially Lowlife, Lou Ramos, and others are definitely, mourning the guy today. In fact, I want to give a shout out to Shaheen. Nuclear Graphics sent me this really cool photo of the two. And look, Supreme was extremely heavy at the time, and he has lost weight over the years, and married with I believe one kid in California. In fact, I know there's a GoFundMe up right now to raise some money for the guy. But you know what? I swear to you, I don't do this often. Maybe we'll do this on a regular basis if we really have to pay tribute to somebody that we all really gave a shit about. Not every single person that dies because I'll become an alcoholic, but look, it's this tiny bottle and it's got a cap. It's not got a cork. I'll tell you the truth. Thinking about it tonight, since Killer Kross, we were all looking to see this guy debut in NXT and show Impact Wrestling what they fucking totally screwed up on. I send this little toast to Supreme, and I send this toast to Killer Kross for his debut. Supreme, rest in peace. 49 years old, man. Taken way too soon. I know it's not a champagne glass, but for some reason I couldn't find any champagne glasses in my house. So there you go. There you go. A. Espinoza wants to know about me with Messiah. Well, I'll just tell you this much, and then we got to talk about, obviously, the news on hand. As far as Messiah goes, and others that sent super chats, I will definitely get into them. Messiah was never an XPW when it came to the Northeast. As far as the allegations, Rob Black hiring two guys to cut, Messiah's fingers off, we'll never know the truth, but, a lot of people believe to this day that Messiah either may have done something with Lizzie Borden or tried to do something with Lizzie Borden, and the rumor was that Rob Black... Put it this way. Let me say it like this. This is probably the best way I can answer this. Right now, something tells me that some people from Dark Side of the Ring are thinking, hey, man, if we could get, the actual scoop of what happened with Messiah and his fingers cut off, and you think about XPW and its demise and how Rob went to jail, and that would be a great episode for Dark Side of the Ring. I don't think so. I don't think so. Just because it's on TV and people are willing to be part of it doesn't mean that you have the right ingredients to actually, they tell the story they want to tell. They portray it the way they want to portray it. Of course, a lot of it is factual, but a lot of it is sensationalized because it's TV. That's what it is. So, I love Devil Ants Nance. Do I think Kross and Scarlett could be megastars? Look, just because I don't tweet bang Kross every day of the week, just because I don't bring it up 50 times every show, doesn't mean that I haven't sung the praise. Does everybody forget that when Impact Wrestling owed this guy merchandise revenue, that every fucking day I was going on Twitter, roses are red, violets are blue. Kross says you ripped them off, Impact. What say you? I've been supporting this guy since day one. It's no secret, but I don't gush over it. I appreciate it. But Kross was a big fan of our show before he even got into wrestling. And Killer Kross, this is probably the most important thing for me. He's a homeboy. He's from Queens. you know? So, but I've been singing the praise for this guy for years. So you probably are a newer listener, but, you know, they were going to be big. And tonight's debut in NXT was, you know, it was better than I think we all expected because of no crowd. You didn't need a crowd. The crowd would have been silent anyway. You know, it's not like everybody would have been gushing like, you know, like Killer, Karrion Kross. No, they would have been silent. But I love the debut. You know, it's funny because I actually had people PMing me and tweet me tonight saying, hey, you know, it kind of gave me a Natural Born Killers vibe. What say you? I'm like, motherfucker, I said 2-3 months ago that I think it's going to be Natural Born Killers theme. I even think one show over here I had a brain cramp and one of you were kind enough to remind me, you know, what the characters' names were in Natural Born Killers. I'll tell you what I loved the most about it. You know, Scarlett lip singing, the intro was great. She's sexy. You know, I don't know why people were making such an unbelievable fuss about her outfit. It was pretty simple and sexy. She is, and I don't think anybody denies it, she's probably the most attractive woman in NXT. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. But the one thing that I loved the most tonight about their debut was the smoke. You know, we want the smoke. It was the smoke around ringside. And I didn't want no fucking goofy Bray Wyatt's, you know, special colors and it's got to be in black and white or it's got to look like, you know, similar to his vignettes. You know, no. During the match, the smoke, the eerie feeling, you know, the anger, it just really came through the set. I loved it. I thought the match went as long as it should. Now, if anybody follows me on Twitter, you know that, you know, I was hoping that, you know, Karrion Kross, force of habit, his first victim would be Denzel DeJournette. Nothing against the guy. I just like mentioning his name because it sounds like a salad dressing. Give me some of that Denzel DeJournette. I'm like, please, if there's a perfect world, you know, I was able to vape and have what is that? A mental orgasm. What is that called again? A mengasm? Is it? No, mengasm sounds, you know, I don't know, but I had a mental orgasm when Brody Lee tossed around Marco's stunt like a bag of potatoes. You know, so today I was like, all right, if Karrion Kross's first victim is Denzel DeJournette, I'll take out the proverbial pipe and I'll vape, you know, even though I don't smoke. You know, we got Leon Rush, you know, it was what it was. But, you know, a couple of suplexes later, match is over. You know, a little bit of black and white to start. You know, just that overall entrance. What I liked about the entrance too is the entrance matched the coming vignettes. If you look at the coming vignettes with the black and white and that goth feel to it and that anger, that's the one thing that I loved. I loved about the whole setup for this. Anger. See, like Johnny Gargano, it's not about anger with him. It's about a smugness, a cockiness, like a preppy, like somebody that thinks he's better than everybody else. So that comes across on the TV screen. Some wrestlers, no matter what they try to do, it doesn't come across on TV. I said this at the beginning of the night. You take away, you know, Kross's debut, I still feel this way. AEW tonight and NXT tonight, the best way I could describe both products right now with empty arenas. This is the best way I could describe it. And I'm really curious to see how you all feel about it. It's like having a choice of going to 2 house parties. And you go to one house party, which is NXT. You walk in there. It's, like a nice looking house, professional DJ. Everything is pristine. Hors d'oeuvres, deviled eggs. You know, you have just everything is perfect. Really elegant napkins. And you look around and there's 2 or 3 fucking people in the whole place. The referee and 2. And you're like, where is everybody? The place looks great. The hors d'oeuvres look good. The deviled eggs look awesome. You know, we got champagne. We have everything. But where's everybody else? Then you go to AEW. You go to fucking AEW, and it's like walking into a warehouse. You got the fucking local DJ. You got pizza. You got beer. You got people there, not only hanging out, but yelling, active, screaming, getting into it, having fun. Now, listen, I understand about demographics and all this other stuff. And yes, NXT, the average demographic is like 50 years old and over, and the AEW demographic is so much lower. You know, it's funny. I saw a goof yesterday or Tuesday that was talking about Raw. Like, hey, Raw did 3, 4, and 5 in the ratings for Monday. And I'm like, no, you fucking nut. It's the 18 to 34 demographic that was 3, 4, and 5. You look at the overall rating, I think it was maybe in the top 10 at best. People are obsessed with looking at one demographic. You think these advertisers, you think these networks go into a fucking meeting with a show that's doing Shangada ratings no matter what it is, what form of entertainment it is? You know, your ratings have only 33% of what it was 5 years ago. But you're getting your 18 to 34 pretty good. But what about, it's the overall viewing audience. It's the overall viewing audience. So which party would you rather go to? The NXT? That's all professional and all set up beautifully, and you look around, where is everybody? Oh, you go to the fucking AEW where it's a warehouse, pizza, beer, everybody's great. Come on. And here's another thing. Not everybody falls into this category. But you look, and I don't care if you hate AEW, you cannot deny this. You look at AEW. Maybe it doesn't feel this way. Maybe a lot of the wrestlers behind the scenes, it's like, what was that cartoon? What was it, Dick Dastardly and Muttley? When the dog would be like he would like be on TV, you go, and laugh, but then when Dick Dastardly's looking the other way, maybe the AEW wrestlers are acting that way. They smile on TV, but in the hotel room, they're bitching. But you look at AEW, and it gives this aura that everybody there wants to be there. You look at NXT, and there are a lot of people that you feel, it comes across the TV, that it looks like they're there because they have to be there. There is a big difference of wanting to be there or giving the perception of wanting to be there and the perception of having to be there. And that is the big difference between AEW and NXT. Like I said, you know, me, I know, I'm sorry if this is a broken record. I'm into music, all right? Overall, why would I tweet about dubstep? Dubstep, I'm not a fan of it. Maybe Io Shirai's beginning of her song and Poppy is the closest I'll get. If that's even dubstep, I don't even know. But I heard it, I'm like, what is this? So if I don't like it, but I like music, I talk about what I like. So explain to me why these goofs that can't stand AEW can't get their fucking word out of their mouth. They got to keep talking about it and talking about it and talking about it and make jokes here, man. Everybody's a comedian. I mean, we got a global pandemic. You would think that everybody's rehearsing to become stand-up comics. Seriously. Why do they spend all this time? Because of attention. Like I said, heroin. It's getting a little tight over here. You know, my fake muscle. You know, I have to reveal it. A lot of people thought that screenshot from the Don Tony show, thought that was the real muscle. I mean, this is what it is right now, but I did one of these. You ever do this in school? Like you're hanging out and you're like this, and then you go like this? That's what I did. So, but, no, but I'm not shitting on NXT. I am a fan of NXT. I enjoy NXT. But there's a reason why NXT is doing half the ratings that it should. Because it's like walking into a party where everything is too organized and everything is prim and proper, and people just feel like, a lot of people just give that feeling like, oh man, it's my fucking mother-in-law's birthday. I gotta be at this party, man. My wife will fucking kill me. If I don't go to this party, my wife will kill me. I can't say I got corona. Oh, and by the way, I got the results back from my corona test. You know, for anybody that is interested, well, you can't read that, but there you go. If you look under where it says your results, my test was negative. I don't have COVID, but unfortunately, I also never had the antibodies either. Yeah, that's my actual test results. I went Monday, I paid for it, and I got my results today. I took the Q-tip swab in the nose. I didn't really pick my nose, but I got the Q-tip swab on Friday, and I got the blood test on Monday. I got my results. But I'll tell you this much, everybody, and this will lead to news. I guess we could talk about this. You know, I kind of was hoping that I had the antibodies, which means that you would have had COVID and maybe not even know it. I was hoping that result came back positive because we don't have a vaccine right now. And I was thinking, hey, if it ends up that I had COVID in January, way before the big event, for people that are asking, if I would have had it in January and I was cured by it and I have antibodies, then I could walk around the neighborhood and go like this. You can't disease me. You know, like Cena does, you can't see me. You can't sneeze me. I can't get sick. I got antibodies. You can't sneeze me. But so I think I would have been immune to it a little bit more, even though it's not 100% proven. But here's a little piece of news. AEW this is big news. Honestly, this is big news. And I did a little research that might be of interest to some of you out there, because I guarantee there's going to be a topic on a message board somewhere. AEW talked about how they are testing everybody in the building with a rapid test. The International Alliance of Theatrical Stage, their employees' Facebook page posted that AEW is giving every person a rapid test. Every stagehand, every wrestler, every crew member, every venue staff member, and everybody. They were all getting a rapid test. And when you saw, now I don't know about the guy with his kids that were there. I could have sworn one of them was wearing a Cena shirt, but I'm probably wrong. But everybody that was there that you saw on TV today, I'm almost certain every single one of them got the rapid test done. Not rabid, like hopping. Rapid, R-A-P-I-D, like rapid refund. So the rapid test. Now, this is why this is so goddamn important. Soon as I heard that, I said, you know, I'm curious to see how much this rapid test costs. And I was doing some research online to see how much, you know, this actually costs to get done. And what I found interesting was it was the state, I think, of Delaware. I have it somewhere over here. The state of Delaware. They ordered 5,000 tests. Let me see if I have it here. I think I do. Shit, I know I do. Let's see. I got to find it. You know, I'll get you the actual number later on. Now I'm getting a little bit pissed off. It's like I have to find it. But you know what? Even if I don't have it in front of me, here it is. I got it. I found it. Yay! Delaware. Of course, Delaware is not Florida, but Delaware ordered 5,000 rapid tests. Chat room, YouTube. I'm sorry, Twitch. I don't have your chat room in front of me, but YouTube. Take a guess how much 5,000 rapid tests cost for Delaware to buy. Seriously. Just throw some random numbers. You know, what do you think? 5,000 tests. You know, give me 5,000. Rapid test gives you the result in like 30 minutes. Okay. Willis Wheeler. Oh, Carmelo, man. No, you're wrong. You know what? Kevin K came very close. I like the W, 20 million. AEW be out of business in 2 months if that was the case. 5,000 rapid test kits cost $84,000. That is what? about $14,000 a test. No, $15 a test would be $75,000. 16 would be $80,000. So it's about $17 a test. Now, let's also remember, you got to have the machine to run it through. I'm pretty sure. But the point is, these tests are not hundreds of dollars a piece. Now, me, I paid $119 because I got the blood test done also for the antibodies. That actually costs more money. The COVID test being free for everybody, it's because the test is not that expensive. Up until recently, you had to show symptoms to get the test done. Now, if you call up your doctor, chances are you get the test done. I got it done Friday, you know? So when you look at it like this, the fact that AEW could spend $20 a person to have a test done. Sure, they may have 100 people there. That's not chump change. But when you realize that the amount of money involved is this much, and if you're Jake Roberts, Jim Ross, the wrestlers, stagehands, a father with his kids, a 60-year-old guy, whoever it is, the fact that everybody in that building had a rapid test done and they tested negative, that is a very comfortable feeling inside, knowing that the person you're facing in the ring had a test done an hour or two earlier and tested negative. That is a big deal. And honestly, I think that's the reason why Nyla Rose is back. I think the reason why Santana and Ortiz is back. I think, and maybe this doesn't apply to every single person, but there are some people who have been visibly absent. And it was fears of corona. Things didn't just dramatically change in a week. We don't have a vaccine. Some areas, the numbers are getting higher still because there's more testing being done. So the fact that AEW is testing everybody, every single wrestler who have been a little bit uncomfortable. Now, sure, you may interact with someone in the airport, on a plane, at the hotel, checking in, checking out, checking a girl out, checking a guy out. Yeah, you might interact with other people as well, and that may give you a little fear too. But as far as the building goes, everybody is being tested. So with that said, if you don't mind spending the cash, you have people working for AEW, bring your kids. You know, fill up some of the area. Make it look a little bit like there's people there. AEW was very, very smart today with some of their camera work. I love the shot where you see the back of the building open and you just see that sky and you just see that it felt clean. It looked clean. I just thought it was very, very smart. Now, let's also make it clear that WWE is also testing. The thing is that WWE is so goddamn afraid to talk about this topic that it leaves a lot of the creativity to the minds for a lot of people out there. AEW is just coming right out there and saying it. Jim Ross talked about it today, that they're really, trying, pun intended, stay ahead of the curve. And again, anybody that knows, I'm a fan of both shows. In fact, what I'm even going to do tonight is I'm going to go back and forth when we talk about the recaps, because some people are like, hey, you spend so much time in AEW and you don't spend a lot on NXT. I'll go back and forth. I'll do a match here, a match here, a match here, a match here. But you just look at the overall aesthetics of AEW. It just, they're knocking it out of the park with the empty arenas. They are the true definition of taking chicken shit and turning it into chicken salad. Now, when you take chicken shit and you turn it into chicken salad, it's not perfect chicken salad. If it was perfect chicken salad, it would have been chicken before it was chicken salad. When you take chicken shit and you turn it into chicken salad, you're manipulating, you're changing some ingredients, you're trying to transform it. That's what that is. You try to make the best of the situation. There is nothing that is going to make NXT come over as takeover quality right now. There's nothing that is going to make AEW come off as double or nothing or their form of a WrestleMania right now. But they are taking advantage of the situation. They're testing everyone. They're not hiding behind it. They're not treating. But I will say this, and here's a little bit of news as well. People aren't stupid. they don't like their intelligence insulted. And I got a kick out of Cody Rhodes doing an interview or like a Q&A late last week. And they were talking about various topics and everything. And the topic of a on-air authority figure or a GM came up. And Cody, when asked, his thoughts if AEW needed an on-air GM or authority figure, his answer was, and I quote, "Hopefully never. The audience isn't dumb. They know who management is. Authority elements seem insulting in this era." And that's his opinion. Now, my honest opinion on it is, Cody, you're a fucking moron to say something like that. When you say the audience isn't dumb, I got some news for you, Cody. When you fight Lance Archer in a couple of weeks for a title that should have been crowned on TNT television, the audience isn't dumb. They know that it is predetermined, that it's simulated violence. The audience isn't dumb. When Jake the Snake Roberts is almost dry humping Brandy Rhodes and there's a snake on her, the fans know she's not unconscious. The audience isn't dumb. So everything about pro wrestling is entertainment. And the fans know because the audience isn't dumb. So this isn't ECW 1995. Well, that was stage, but that was real. That was one thing. That was one thing that I'm sure any old school viewers right now remember from my hotline back in the day. When I started doing my hotline in 1997, and we were talking about like NWO and ECW and Attitude Era was starting to form and all that, we were trying to talk about, I was talking about like reality in wrestling. You would not believe how many fans were convinced that some parts of ECW was real. When Tommy Dreamer was feuding with Raven and they started brawling in a bar about Beulah McKilligutty and this, that, there were people like, that was real. That was not staged. They took that and they turned it into a storyline. The fans aren't dumb, Cody. Everything about wrestling is entertainment. Putting an authority figure on TV is no different. All you got to say is, Tony Khan has hired blah, 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 Mick Foley or anybody, to be the GM, to keep authority and to, come on. I hope that Cody really doesn't think that fans are going to get behind AEW simply because of perceived honesty. They want to be fucking entertained. And if there is someone out there that could be an entertaining fucking authority figure and makes sense, that it probably makes more sense of an on-air GM to make a match between two people instead of just, hey, dude, all you had to do was ask for a match. Now, you see, I'm actually criticizing something today. Brody Lee and Moxley. Moxley takes on Kazarian. Decent match. Not bad. It was fine. I think we all knew what the outcome was going to be. Kazarian, hey, that was really nice of him to tell his partners to go in the back. Let me do this by myself. That was honorable, as Jim Ross said. Everything about Moxley in his promos that he's a maniac. It's honorable. Honorable usually gets you guts in the end. But, it was a decent match. After the match is over, the Dark Order comes out. I noticed that the announcers did not call them creepers tonight. I don't know, maybe creepers, is kind of like it sounds a little pedophilic word, creepers. There's a lot of creepers on social media. I do this once in a while. I admit it. I invite you all to do as well. Some people out there, just look at their following list. And I have to say it, when you see people that are not in their teens and 20s anymore, and I'm not singling anybody out, I'm just saying in general, and you go down their followers list and you see a couple of like 14 and 15-year-olds being followed, unless they're like nieces and nephews, that you're just following because they're relatives of yours, it's a little creepy, especially when to me, creepers, when I think of creepers, I don't think of Dark Order. I think of some of the followers list of some people on social media, man. Seriously. But Brody Lee comes out. They're beating the shit out of Jon Moxley. And Brody Lee, is talking about how, the crowd is not there to save him. There's no energy to pick up Moxley. And, look, I have notes that I could go to right now, but I'm just summarizing. And he's saying that, but you have something that I want. And I'm not the same person that you used to see face-to-face before. He wants the AEW title. And he challenges Moxley. And he says if Moxley doesn't answer, they're going to force him to. They're going to beat it out of him. And Moxley, in Dean Ambrose form, dude! Maybe not Matt Riddle-ish dude, but dude, all you had to do is ask. He deserved that kick right in the goddamn mouth. Joe Biden is a creeper. Yeah, no, I was talking a little bit before about the, as far as reality and wrestling. And yeah, no, Anthony, you knock it out of the park. Shane Douglas, I remember that here. He's shooting. I remember that. Brian Pillman, when he was going to yank his Johnson out and pee in the ECW arena. All right, you trust me, when it comes to ECW trivia, you probably would never be able to stump me. What's this? Oh, Mr. Espinola. NXT is Joe Biden. AEW is Les Sex Gods. Yeah, I wouldn't go to that extent because there's a lot of goddamn talent in AEW and there's a lot of goddamn talent in NXT. NXT by far has a killer women's division. The NXT women's division is far more superior than AEW. There's no question. Oh, when I get into Nyla Rose's match later. Oh, hear me out before you get upset. Hear me out. And SoFly BMQRE. I hope I said that. Thank you very much, my friend. Trying to keep healthy, trying to get healthier. I'm trying to, improve as much as I can. It's not easy, and I'm not perfect, and trust me, it's going to be an ongoing battle until the day I die, but I appreciate that. And speaking of ongoing battles, I don't know if you are all aware of this, but Tammy Sitch, Sonny, posted a little statement today addressing the last 12 months of what's going on with her arrest, with alcoholism. I have it. We have time before midnight. I'll share it with everybody. But getting back to the women, NXT women clearly dominate AEW women. You could make, and here's where the opposite is. You could have AEW do this beautiful package. Britt Baker, Chris Statlander, blah, 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 blah. It looks nice, but, when you actually see it, then you see where all the holes are exposed. Look, AEW does a fine job standing behind their wrestlers and trying to, hype them up. They all deserve it without a doubt. But at the end of the day, you can't even compare the NXT women's division to AEW. And the Shirai Flair match tonight, listen, I could put up clips here from last week's show. But I remember on my show last week, I specifically said that match was going to end in a clusterfuck. I said fuckery. I think that's how I said it last week. It was going to end in fuckery, and that's how it ended. It was a great match, honestly, and I've been saying this for weeks now, 2 weeks to be exact. I didn't think there was any chance that Io Shirai was going to win the women's title right now. I know a lot of you disagree with me that as far as Charlotte being the NXT champion. I think Charlotte being the NXT champion puts more, not eyes as far as bolting ratings, but it makes the women's division seem a little bit more elevated with her as the champion versus Rhea Ripley as the champion. Rhea Ripley, speaking of, the match ended because Charlotte took out a Singapore cane. Yeah, fuckery. I think a lot of people expected fuckery. But, Rhea Ripley makes her first appearance since WrestleMania. And look, let's also bring this up too, because it's only fair that I mention this as well. And I talked about it last week. Florida is now allowing some, businesses to return, and they're at stage one of the comeback. So, the fact that you're allowed to do and have some people forming again, that's a reason also why some people are back. Because it's the rules are a little bit more lax. But I'll stick to this. The fact that WWE's been taping in Florida for the last bunch of weeks, that didn't stop. It shouldn't have stopped anybody from competing if they wanted to compete. So something changed. And like I said, there ain't no vaccine in the last 7 days. So when you see people suddenly making a return here and here, rapid testing, I think those two words are going to be the big difference with AEW and NXT as far as who shows up. You'll see some smoke and mirrors. I still think, Randy Orton and Edge, I don't know if maybe one of them will be in the building next week, but my guess is it might be simulcast. Mauro Ranallo, Beth Phoenix, they weren't in Florida. You got, Tom Phillips, like, the opener, like, welcome to NXT. I'm the only announcer here. And they're not there. So it's a lot of smoke and mirrors, but rapid testing, that will be the ingredient to get a lot of people to come back. Because if they know that every person that they're interacting with inside that building had a rapid test done that day, it alleviates a hell of a lot of fear. And plus, at the same time, hey, man, I'm getting a free test. I'm clear. Honey, we can have sex. I don't have the virus. You don't have to worry. You can kiss me. It does feel a little personal, does it? And speaking of Rhea Ripley, Dalvin Brown. Yeah, you remember when PW Spyware said Rhea Ripley had to return to Australia? Yup. Wasn't there a travel ban? Yup. And I'm sorry, Devil. He is not a new listener or follower of the show because I was talking about him earlier. I do agree that Kross and Scarlett can be megastars. It's not only how WWE uses them, it's who they're facing and what WWE, how they want to go. The one thing that WWE has to be very careful about is to stop having everybody significant other in their corner. All right, we got the Street Profits and Bianca Belair. We got Gargano and we got Candice LeRae. We got Karrion Kross and we have Scarlett. And I'm probably leaving out one or two as well. You can't just, and I know couples together right now, and this and that, but it's got to stand out more. And, I just don't like the fact of so many couples being featured on television. They may not actually, and don't bring up Zelina Vega and Aleister Black because they're actually foes on TV. Don't bring up Charlotte and Andrade because they don't interact on TV. I'm talking about pairings in their work. Like Gargano had that opening match with Dominik Dijakovic today. Fun match, but I think everybody pretty much predicted how that match was going to go. Candice LeRae gets involved in the match. She didn't come out with Gargano. And if you remember last week, I actually said that Gargano's got to start coming out without her. You can't have so many people coming out with their significant other. The Cruiserweight Classic, or not Cruiserweight Classic, that mixed match challenge, was that what it's called? That's not around the corner. So it's not like they're putting all these pairings together because they're going to have the mixed match challenge. No, that's not the case at all. But, Gargano and Dijakovic was a great opening match. I tell you, man, it was a very interesting opener for wrestling tonight. And by the way, once again, continue shout out to everybody tuning in live, especially. I see that, my friends on YouTube, the audience has doubled in the last few minutes, so I'm wondering if another show may have went off the air very recently. I know that happens. Like I said, everybody, I know that there are other podcasts doing shows, and I never want anyone to feel that, they have to choose one or the other. You could always tune into one live and another later on, but very cool to have you here live, especially we interact a little bit as well. And if you're liking the show tonight, hit the like button, because it does give me a little more exposure. And if you enjoy the channel, subscribe. We're this close to 11,000 already. 11,000. Not even 4 months. 11,000. And I didn't have to pay for it. I mean, I'm buying things so we can have fun and interact, but I see some shows out there. I ain't stupid. There's some shows out there that have like 70,000 followers. And then you look in their videos, they get 300 views. I'm like, come on. I see the game that some people play. But I, like I've always said, I want people to enjoy what I do, not because someone else sucks, but because I'm good. There's a big difference. That is something that I had to grow out of, because up until the mid-2000s, I was the opposite. I'll admit it. Up until the mid-2000s, I was an annoying son of a bitch, because I would always rag on all the other podcasts specifically and would always put them down. And then, I started thinking, I'm like, you know what? I'd rather people tune into me, not because that person is the drizzling shits, but because I'm decent or okay. So, play the game, Benjamin. Play the game. So, by the way, as you noticed, I survived the one-chip challenge from Friday. It was painful, man. It was painful, but I threw everything out the box, but I kept the poster, this nice little poster. I survived the one-chip challenge. I'm sure you heard about Mish shitting out worms. You heard about that? I don't really want to get into it over here because it's a little disgusting. People can be like, ew! I'll let him tell you about it, but we'll be doing another challenge at 15,000. So the quicker we get to 15,000, the quicker we'll do more challenges. So I know, Anthony. So glad I decided to be no, you see, you left out some of the term. It's not a YouTube wannabe celebrity. The term that was shot towards me was that I was a middle-aged wannabe YouTube celebrity. I'm not trying to be a YouTube celebrity. I'm just trying to have fun. We all love wrestling, obviously. A lot of it is in the shitter right now. But hey, if we could try to take some chicken shit and interact and make it feel a little better. Sometimes, you might be with someone and maybe they're a little bit of a shitty cook, but you kind of try to you ever see those shows that, you're a little kid and you're about to eat like Brussels sprouts and it'll be a goofy show pretend it's potato chips. Yeah, these potato chips are a little juicy. I think The Honeymooners had an episode like that. That's right. Ralph Cramden was on a diet, and I think Ed Norton he thought he was eating a piece of steak. Where's the potato? You just got to try to make the best of it. I see these people on social media constantly ripping this, ripping that, ripping this. We're in special times right now. All right, the AEW rating's a little shitty. The NXT rating is a little shitty. Yeah. It's not as good as what it would be without fans. It's not as good as it would be when some people are a little bit hesitant to go to the buildings. There's a lot of restrictions right now. So, you got to make the best of it. But at the same time, though, you got to criticize when it's warranted. It made me laugh when Edge criticized fans for complaining that the match was too long at WrestleMania. Oh, we're in the middle of a virus and they're complaining about the length of the match. Motherfucker, WWE charged regular price to watch WrestleMania if you didn't have the network. Don't give me this, we're in the middle of a virus. Like I said, and I brought this up before, if any of you out there order Grubhub and you order from a restaurant, I'm going to order Grubhub. And you get it delivered to your house, and you open up the bag, and the chicken is not cooked well, and this and that. And they charge you regular price, virus or not. You mean to tell me you're not supposed to complain that the chicken is not cooked, or this tastes like crap? The virus. No. And yes, it was too long. I agree. It was definitely too long. So as you see, I'm trying to go back and forth, just to keep the conversation going. So a lot of this is not planned. Like, I didn't have my notes planned that way. But you know what? Before we get into more in the TV results, a couple of things. I know a lot of you are aware of my little contribution to Drake Maverick when he first, had the release. And, I didn't want anything in return, but he insisted. And I thought it was really, really cool. And, the money that we raised on March 27th, which was my birthday, Mish and I over here, this past Friday, I posted the donation receipt for the United Way. I found out today that Cody's shirt, that he donated all the proceeds from the middle of April to the end of the month, he raised $7,000 for the United Way as well. So it kind of made my donation look like chump change, but very cool on behalf of AEW and Cody. But, we definitely want to, do it again for someone. We want to just give somebody a little shirt and revenue or a little Cameo money just to show support. And the latest person to join Cameo is a guy that I have been rooting for many years. I've worn his shirt on this show way before he ever got released. And the guy right now, and I made this prediction a couple of weeks ago, I think EC3 is going to be the next Drew McIntyre. That a fire is so lit under his ass, people are just like, what the fuck did it happen to this guy? In a positive way. I think he comes back to WWE a couple of years from now, maybe sooner than later, and he's going to win a major title. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. But he just set up on Cameo, and I don't know if all of you out there have been paying attention to his videos online. Last week, he did an awesome one, and I can't play it because the WWE song was playing in the background. I don't want to take a chance of getting any copyright flags over here. But he basically just started breaking the speakers to pieces and cutting a promo and this and that. Well, he just set up a Cameo. And, I didn't contribute to it yet. And if I do, I'm going to do the same thing as Drake Maverick and, 2 others. I don't want no video in return. This is just from the Donzilla Army to you. Be strong. Good luck. And, when things get better, he could go buy himself a protein shake, So in his case. But this is the video that he posted as his welcome video on Cameo. Just to give you an idea of how this guy is starting to transform himself. I think it's pretty cool.
I'm EC3. And I'm not your fucking Cameo. I'm not your fucking podcast. And I'm not your fucking pro wrestling tease store. For the mere price of $100 US, you get to join the narrative. By joining the narrative, you get a homework assignment that leads to self-improvement, a homework assignment that leads to a better you, a homework assignment that leads you to hashtag control your narrative. The world has changed. We have changed along with it. Welcome to the narrative. You have been warned.
I'm telling you, and that is light compared to some of the stuff he's been doing. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. I know some of you are not fans of his work. Trust me on this one. And again, look, I've been singing the praise for Killer Kross for a couple of years now. Not because he was a fan of our show, not because he's from Queens, but because the guy is a crazy-ass fucking talent. He's just over-the-top talented. And the stuff with Impact Wrestling was just foolish. I'm telling you, man, I wish to this, I would never do it. And that's why he sent it to me, because he trusts me. He sent me all the legal papers that him and his lawyer had sent to Impact Wrestling. Not just the legal papers, but all of the statements of everything that Impact Wrestling owed this guy. And when he sent it to me, he's like, please don't show anybody, nobody. When I'm reading this, I'm like, they're fucking holding you hostage for this? I swear to God, I never said this at the time because you don't want to step on people's shoes, but I truthfully believe that if somebody would have set up a GoFundMe for him to cover the amount of money that Impact owed him, he would have got that money in probably 2 weeks. It was crazy. But it's not just the fact that they held him up for this money. The guy is just, it's not just talent, but you believe it. It's psychological. The guy, and I don't want to, look, I don't like ever making fun of bipolar. I know we talked about Stephanie's character being bipolar, and some people are wrestling 1 week there, and good, and but he's got this character that, he'll smile in one moment and then give you this look on your face like, I'm fucked. Like there's just so much about him. I don't say EC3 is on the level of him, but I think this fire, trust me when I tell you, and I truly believe this, EC3 right now, when you see all these crazy ass videos he's doing and all the production, everything like that, that anger that he feels right now is legit, because he lost a couple of years of his career. Sure, he got paid for it, but his stock value has gone down quite a bit. And that anger that is coming across on the screen is real. Trust me, when he shoots those videos and they're over, it's not like he's like, all right, and he hangs out and it's like it's all a joke. No, this guy's legitimately pissed. And trust me when I tell you, some people that are angry, that's when they're at their best. Seriously, I swear to you, I'm not trying to compare me to any of them, but I think some of you out there will agree with me on this for yourselves. How many of you who may have been teased in school, or somebody teased you on social media, or you tried to do something or a project and people were goofing on you and putting you down and belittling you and making you feel this small? And what that does, it gives you three choices. Ignore the person, or you crawl up into a ball and then you just tweet fuck a fake life for the next couple of years, and hope that nobody figures you out, or it lights a fire under your ass and you're like, okay, motherfucker, I'll show all of you people. And you get that. I'm telling you. I see people online. I have friends on social media, straight, gay, bad relationship, good relationship, loss of job, loss of this, illness. And for some people, when they're put down, sometimes, like a little animal, you might get away with kicking a little animal once in a while. You might be able to knock them on their ass once in a while. But sooner or later, that person starts kicking back. And when that person kicks back, and that person's kicking back because of anger and resentment that's been building up, it explodes and it lights a fire. And even like with the stuff I'm doing now with the video and this and that, I talked about it before. When I made the tease last summer that I was going to be going the video, there were a lot of people that thought I was full of it. And there were people up until the very end were giving me these massive guilt trips and putting me down, and some people talking shit behind my back. To this day, there are a few people talking shit behind my back and smiling to my face. They don't realize that some of the people they're talking to are sending me screenshots. And what it does is, okay, I was hoping 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2020. Got 10,000 in 3 months. I want 15,000 by the end of July. Maybe we get 15,000 by July. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the ultimate revenge for EC3, the ultimate revenge for Drew McIntyre, the ultimate revenge for all of you out there, the ultimate revenge for haters is not having to catch your tweet. It's not giving them the better insult. It's success. Because when you have success and you're enjoying it and other people are enjoying it, and you just like comes up. Why do you think Tammy Sitch is getting so much shit on her OnlyFans account right now? She's an older woman now. I mean, people think that she's going to look like 1995 Sunny. She's an older woman now. Unfortunately, people do age. And, you know, some people age better than others. To me, she still is a very attractive woman. But I see these teens and 20-something-year-olds and even 30s and 40s, but I see a lot of young people who are making fun of her for this OnlyFans account. And I'm saying to myself, like, if you don't like her, or if you think that she's ugly or she just is not attractive anymore, ignore her. But she's got like one of the biggest OnlyFans account right now, and she's making crazy ass money. And, you know, it's just this is just lighting a fire under her ass to put it even more to the next step. Now, I'm not a subscriber to OnlyFans. I'm not a subscriber to anybody on OnlyFans, to be honest with you. But seriously, I'm telling you, there are a lot of people out there, that are watching this right now that has gone through some shit. And believe me when I tell you, somebody may take a shot at you on social media. You could play the game right back, but then you just stoop down to that same person's level. Success. That is the ultimate revenge. WWE treated EC3 like shit. This guy totally transforms himself, and WWE did not create it. That's going to be ultimate set. Karrion Kross with his debut today. You know, a lot of what you've been seeing, you know, it's not that far away from some of the stuff he's done before. Yes, they tweaked his name. Yes, they're getting rid of the Bordeaux last name. And yes, they're going to tweak it a little bit more. But in the end, you know, Karrion Kross is a Karrion Kross creation. You understand what I'm saying? So Benjamin thinks Sonny's not going to turn her life around. That's your opinion. I try to root for everybody who seriously is trying to. Alcohol is a disease. That's why I've been defending Jeff Hardy for quite some time now. The drugs are a little different. When Jeff Hardy was really doing the drugs, you know, you remember I would put the 3 faces of Hardy up there, just like, you know, 3 faces of Foley. You could see him just totally destroying his life. I did the 3 faces of Matt Hardy. Mugshots, 1, 2, 3. And you see it. And Matt Hardy just looked like he was deteriorating. He turned his life around, man. Jeff Hardy turned his life around with drugs, still battles alcoholism. Sonny, her crutch is alcoholism. It's a disease. I did see most of the Dark Side of the Ring with Herb Abrams. I mean, my honest take on it, and I'm not trying to sound like a jerk, but when I covered the history show, I talked about him being found dead with cowboy boots and Vaseline and cocaine. I don't know why so many people hear stuff but don't listen to it, because a lot of the Herb Abrams story, people have talked about every year in an interview and a podcast and a recap of this and that. It was cool to see some faces that we haven't seen in a very long time, but I saw people making such a big deal about what Brian Blah said at the end about women and cocaine. And I'm like, you know, that's been something that's been said for fucking 20 plus years. So there was a lot that was not surprising, but it was still a nice, you know, reflection of that promotion. At the time, me being a wrestling fan, I never thought UWF was going to be something serious or big. I always felt that, and this is really bad to say, but it wasn't that it had WW, it was rejects. You remember how TNA early on, oh, that's where the WWE castaways go. When we had some promotions here in the Northeast that were trying to, you know, become in existence, I remember one promotion, I'm drawing a blank right now, but they brought in Bruno Sammartino, Captain Lou Albano. Oh my God, what the fuck was his name? Oh my God, somebody will remember. But, you know, they bring in like a lot of WWF wrestlers, and the announcer who was the owner would like try to like act like he was on the level of Vince, and Bruno would talk to him like almost like is of the same level. It wasn't AWF. It was a bigger name than that. But UWF came off as like a wannabe promotion. The thing is, though, is they hit jackpot on a lot of names that were not yet tremendous in their prime. A very young Sting. Dr. Death Steve Williams. That's, in fact, if you ever played word association with me and you said UWF, my response would be Dr. Death Steve Williams. No, it wasn't UWF. It was another promotion here in the Northeast. My God, it was like Jersey. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank right now. It wasn't IWCCW. It was a promotion that we all followed too. The funny thing is that you know what? Next week's show I'll remember. Maybe somebody remembers later and I'll shout them out. But no, it wasn't XWF. This was in the 80s. I can't remember the fucking name right now. But, you had some promotions that were small. No, it wasn't USWA. It was Joseph Oldie. No, I don't think it was him either. I remember the wrestling hotline. I think Captain Lou had a hotline. Was it WXW? That's, isn't it off his group? I can't remember right now. People are just guessing right now. I think if somebody did a Google search and searched like Northeast Wrestling 1980s Bruno after he left WWF, you'll know the name right away. But UWF was a decent promotion, man. I mean, they had a lot of talents, and they could have made some decent money, but obviously this guy was, a coke addict, and, he loved his, his escorts, and a lot of that money was pissed away. Hell, if you're going to talk about that, what about the XWF? Remember that promotion in the early 2000s after WCW went out of business? That promotion, my God, I still have hotline reports of us talking about it. That one should be Dark Side of the Ring because they had cocaine jars. I remember, come on, they brought in Sable as like the GM and stuff like that. Nah, you all keep guessing. It's not any, but look up, you want a good story, more, like relevant for today's age, look up XWF, that promotion, and look up when Sable went there, and Piper, and Jimmy Hart. I think Ted DiBiase was there. They were high. Just look at that story from the early 2000s, and you would have wrestlers doing interviews saying they walked in the office, they had a big cocaine jar on the desk. Serious, man. Serious. It's not Jersey All Pro. Jersey All Pro didn't have TV in the 80s. Come on. Captain Lou was like such a big part of it, and Bruno was doing commentary. Yeah, I'll remember. I'll remember another time. So, but no, I definitely recommend if you want to see, the Dark Side of the Ring with Herb Abrams. It's a nice trip to memory lane. But there's a reason why it only gets 200-something thousand viewers. It's funny. When something only gets 200-something thousand viewers and someone really likes it, they'll gush and tweet fuck over and over about it. But when it's something that they don't like that gets low ratings, they got to make fun of it and crack jokes of it. And then God forbid you crack jokes that, hey, Dark Side of the Ring only gets 200,000 viewers. That's why it's so goofy when you see people doing this. Joe is saying that it was UWF. You know what? You're probably right. You're probably right. There was a couple of groups here. There was one in particular that NWA was going to be coming. There was one promotion. NWA was going to be coming in. Dennis Carluzzo was involved in it, and Todd Gordon was involved. I talked about it on the History Show, and that was originally going to be the foresight of ECW. It was going to be outside of NWA. Some of you may remember this. This was in the early, maybe 1993, 4 or 2 or 3. It was a promotion that was only around for a couple of shows. Dennis Carluzzo, I think Todd Gordon was going to be involved in it. Eddie Gilbert was going to be involved in it. They did like 1 or 2 shows. And if you look at those cards, they were big on ECW before ECW was even created. You see some of the wrestlers on that card, you'd be like, holy shit, is this an ECW crowd? It wasn't Eastern Championship Wrestling. This was before Eastern Championship Wrestling. It's a really cool story. If you want to be a little bit fascinated, maybe it was North America Wrestling. You might be right, Tony. But Tri-State sounds more appropriate, but it's on my History Show. But Dark Side of the Ring was good. Next week, they're going to be talking to Road Warriors. And that is going to be a little bit, depressing. Because Road Warrior Hawk dying from the heart attack. Wasn't he moving furniture when he caught his heart attack? But, that was tragic. Man, he was taken way too soon. But again, like I said, some people need to listen and not just hear. Like, I'll give you another example. I saw all these people making all this big discussion about Nikki Bella revealing in her book that she was raped at 15. And as soon as I heard that, I said, that just sounds so awfully familiar. And I was looking online and looking online and looking on. I'm like, I know I heard that somewhere. And it just wasn't clicking. And then it finally hit me. I think it was November 2017. Nikki Bella was on Lillian Garcia's podcast. And she talked about it 15 years old, being sexually, assaulted and this and that. And I'm saying to myself, how did nobody talk about this in November of 2017 when Nikki Bella revealed it? But now because it's written in the book, it's like front page TMZ News. Found that a little bit surprising, to be honest with you. I haven't read the book. Honestly, I don't read books. I read instruction manuals. I mean, that's just me. I read instruction manuals. But anyway, as you notice, we keep going back and forth with news and TV. I'm just trying to, keep it fresh and talk about a few things. We still got about a half an hour to go. And then we'll finish up with the ratings prediction. Did you hear about this? This actually, I'm pissed off, man. I purposely put the photos aside to share with everybody. But you know what? You could look it up, but we could talk about it. I don't need to see things in front of me. Does anybody remember? I wish I could give a prize for people who would have remembered this, but then everybody will say, yeah, I remember. You remember not too long ago, and I will find the episode. It was, I think, the Don Tony show right after the Full Gear pay-per-view that AEW had. Do you remember the Moxley Omega match? They used all the weapons. Some of it was fake. Well, you might remember that Chris Cruz, maybe he used to be in WCW, the announcer Chris Cruz. Some of you may remember that this guy was on Facebook saying that, they violated the State Athletic Commission and blah, 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 and Maryland, and they should be fined. And I'm like, Chris Cruz, in the mob, Chris Cruz would be considered a rat. You squash rats. He's a fucking rat. This is a guy that I wouldn't even invite him to a fucking wrestling convention of nobodies. Like, if there was a wrestling, let's do a different wrestling convention. Instead of famous people, let's bring all the people that were rejects and nobodies. Chris Cruz is a fucking nobody. This guy rants and puts up diatribes. But once in a while, you could be the worst player in a video game, and once in a while, you might actually survive for an extra 30 seconds. Once in a while, Chris Cruz makes a blog that actually makes a little sense. But this motherfucker is just a bitter bitch. He's a rat. He's a rat. And he filed a complaint with the Maryland State Athletic Commission because of what Kenny Omega and Moxley did in the match, that they intentionally bled and they did some of the things. Now, some of the props were props, so some wasn't. Last week, the Maryland State Athletic Commission fined AEW $10,000 because of what went down in that match between Moxley and Omega. So you may not even be aware of this yet. And I had the complaint. I saved the photos to share with everybody today. I forgot to put it in the computer. But he's a fucking rat. He's a rat. I mean, honestly, good for him. He was an announcer in WCW. It's not jealousy. I never wanted to be a wrestling announcer. Hell, I don't want to be in wrestling either because I enjoy my private life. But this guy, honestly, he's like, even water is good for you. Yeah, there's got to be like some form of like food that just absolutely has no corn. Corn actually you could turn it into other things, but when you eat corn, you eat a can of corn, what nutritional benefit does it have? Does it really have a lot of vitamins? It might, but you shit it out in the same form. It's like it goes right through you. There's some things that you have that just, I know, I could give you a good one. Those tzatziki noodles that people have on a diet that are like rubbery, and it's like 5 calories, but you mix it with other things and it takes on the flavor. But when you poop it out, it's in the same form because all it is fiber. It has no purpose whatsoever but to fill you up. That's what Chris Cruz is. Barley, maybe barley's. Chris Cruz is like that tzatziki noodles or whatever it's called. He serves no purpose. He's nothing. If he was a food, you would eat it, you would shit it out in the same form. This guy files a complaint against AEW, and AEW gets fined. Now look, the Maryland State Athletic Commission could have still fined them $10,000 because the footage was around. But if Chris Cruz was smart, he would have shut his mouth and done nothing and let the Athletic Commission do it on its own. Then you can rip AEW. Then you could criticize them. But this guy, he's a rat. He's garbage. Piece of shit, in my opinion. He's a rat. Rat. Anyway, we'll see what happens with AEW next week. Remember, they're supposed to, I think, tape for next week. I don't believe it's supposed to be live. They did announce some matches for next week. I might as well give you those matches now. Brody Lee is going to be taking on Christopher Daniels. MJF is going to be wrestling next week. I believe they're taping AEW maybe tomorrow for next week. It's not going to be live. Best Friends next week is going to be taking on Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. I don't know why it can't be 3-on-3. Why not do a little comedy with Orange Cassidy and Marco Stunt? Why do you have to do 2-on-2? I don't get that. It's easy comedy. I mean, Orange Cassidy and Marco Stunt, I'm not saying Orange Cassidy is Marco Stunt's size, but man, there's some comedy there. But no, we'll leave them out. Of course, they're going to do a little segment during the match, but just make it 3-on-3. It's not hard. Lance Archer and Jake the Snake are going to be doing an interview next week. Jake the Snake, it was nice to see him there today, with the mask on. Hikaru Shida, Penelope Ford, Dr. Britt Baker, and Chris Statlander, they're going to be facing off next week in a 4-way. Chris Jericho will be wrestling next week. And they also announced a couple of matches for the Double or Nothing pay-per-view. Obviously, we know the final of the TNT tournament, which, again, I don't understand why they're not doing it on TNT. But Cody's going to be taking on Lance Archer in the finals. Moxley is going to be taking on Brody Lee for the AEW Championship. I'm telling you right now, that match ends in fuckery. Definite fuckery, without a doubt. They're also going to have a casino ladder match to determine a future AEW world title shot. So that'll be interesting. We don't know the participants yet. And here's a match that, honestly, it's not a bad match, but you would think, with all the storylines that MJF has had up to this point, wins the ring, takes on Cody, this guy is, and I understand it's to help, bring someone a little bit higher, but Jungle Boy versus MJF at Double or Nothing just seems very, very random. Very random, in my opinion. So, you know what, Devil, since you're bringing up Impact Wrestling, I did watch it this week. The big news coming out of Impact Wrestling this week is that they are doing a tournament to determine the number one contender for the Impact Championship. Now remember, Moose is the TNA heavyweight champion, which to me is like a Legends title. I said that, and I'm not complaining, but he was going to be in the tournament, but he said that he doesn't want to be in the tournament because he doesn't give a shit about the Impact Championship. Tessa Blanchard holds that title right now. So the bracket right now is Rohit Raju versus Trey Miguel, Sami Callihan versus Michael Elgin, Ken Shamrock versus Rhino, and Madman Fulton versus Hernandez. You know, Shamrock Rhino and Fulton Hernandez is the right side of the bracket. Those winners will face each other. Left side is Raju versus Miguel, Callahan versus Elgin. They will face off, and then you'll have the finals for the number one contender. I personally think having tournaments right now is an easy way to go with what's going on with the empty arena stuff. You know, it makes a quick storyline for people that don't have storylines right now. And, you know, Rohit Raju, I think pay attention to that guy. He's still a little ways away, but that guy, you could see something. You know, he's talented. I think he has the capabilities of putting it all together, to be honest with you. This week they had Joseph P. Ryan over Cousin Jake. I wish Joe Ryan would be a little bit more creative online trying to push this character. You know, you see Tamina and you see others that are really using social media to reinvent it. EC3 is a great fucking example. Joey Ryan, I think, could do so much more on social media, but it just comes across right now that it's Joey Ryan in a Halloween costume as Joseph P. Ryan instead of a character change, a change in your soul, a change. That's what you need for it to succeed. I think he could do so much more. You know, they can do with that, without a doubt. Funny skits, once again, with Rosemary in the bar, you know, reading tarot cards. Cody Deaner in Quarantine, I didn't like it all. Madison Rain with Johnny Swinger, her talk show. You know, they had Jessica Havoc on there, and Kimberly, which was nice to see. Hey, I just rhymed. Kimberly, which was nice to see. And Willie Mack defeating Ace Austin and Chris Bay to retain the Impact X Division title was fun. You had Triple XL of AC Romero and Larry D. They beat Jake Christ and Madman Fulton. And Suicide over Johnny Swinger. Please, Impact, please. You're not getting kids to be, oh, it's Suicide. The fucking name in itself is dopey. It just, stop with that gimmick. Come up with something new with a fucking better name than that. It's not Chris Daniels under the mask. It's not, you know, someone else. Just get fucking rid of the Suicide character, please. Just get rid of it. Garbage. Done. Die. Go away. I don't want to joke about Suicide, but man, what a fucking horrible thing to be coming back to. Shit. And I thought I disliked Kalisto. My God. Let me see over here. I think, you know, I got to shout out one more super chat over here that I might have accidentally neglected before. Devil Nance truly believes that Karrion Kross and Adam Cole will be the next top star. Adam Cole is already a top star. I see what you're saying as far as WWE. Kross and Cole taking the place of Rollins and Reigns. No one is going to be taking the place of Seth Rollins anytime soon. Look, let's keep something in perspective here. You know, again, and I say this with the utmost respect, you know, Karrion Kross debuting today was fucking awesome for 1,000 reasons. Not just the reasons I said earlier. But when you tune into that rating tomorrow, and I made the prediction last week, I'll stick to the prediction. It's going to be one of the highest combined ratings that we've had in quite some time. It's going to be, you're going to see websites say it's very impressive for empty arenas. If it is the same as what it's been in the last couple of weeks, I will be extremely shocked. And you know me, I'm usually spot on with my ratings predictions. In fact, last week, my ratings predictions were, let's see, what did I have last week? I had, shit, did I delete? I think I might have deleted it. I think I did get rid of my ratings. And some of you are out there like, good. Oh, no, I didn't. I wasn't teasing. I actually found it. My predictions last week, I said AEW would regain the win. They would score 678,000 viewers. NXT would score 651. So my prediction was 678 to 651. The actual was AEW 693 to 637. So, pretty close. But I will say this. I'll tell you just early on right now. I don't like giving ratings predictions early. I found the placement of some of the matches tonight to be very interesting on behalf of AEW. As great as the Karrion Kross debut was, there was only about 5 minutes between the intro of the match and the outro. So that's not going to be an earth-shattering change in the ratings. And if a lot of people tuned in just to see his debut and then tune back out, it's not going to really tremendously affect the overall rating. But, the main event tonight for AEW was extremely fun. It was messy. It was definitely messy at times. We'll get into it in a moment. But AEW last week scored 678. That rating's got to go up this week. Especially if I said it's going to be one of the highest ratings in recent memory, especially with the empty arenas. So I say AEW jumps up to, 731. I go up to 731 with that. NXT, I don't believe, gets the win this week. Io Shirai and Charlotte was a fun match, but like I said earlier, it ended in fuckery, and it didn't go as long as I thought it would. Velveteen Dream and Adam Cole was a fun match as well, but it started at 10 to 10. And I was like, shit, this is starting awfully late. Then when you had the Undisputed Era get involved, and Dexter Lumis, my favorite theme probably right now in wrestling. I love the character. I love how methodical he is, the eyes and everything else. But I don't understand why Dexter Lumis is coming to the aid of Velveteen Dream. I don't get it. It makes no sense. I'm sure there's a storyline brewing that will make it, make sense. And the commentators are trying to put something together. But I fucking love Dexter Lumis. But I was just baffled with that at the end. But in the end, we had, a screw job. Referee bump. Dream looking outside the ring. Ref! But meanwhile, motherfucker, you're looking at the wrong side of the ring. It was like, where did the ref... He got pinned. It's not punishment because of what happened online, even though people try to portray it that way. Trust me, if WWE thought that this guy did that, he would have been fired immediately, and WWE would have talked about it to show that they don't tolerate this, sending a message. Don't do that. But Dexter Lumis, man, yeah, he was Sam Shaw. Dexter Lumis was Sam Shaw in TNA. I was talking about that last week and a week before. But I think NXT goes up a little bit as well because of the buzz of Cold Dream, because of the buzz of Shirai Charlotte, because of the buzz of Cross's debut, because of the buzz of Finn Balor, which there's really no conclusion. By the way, Cameron Grimes, man. This fucking guy comes out, and go figure, he's the one to beat the crap out of Denzel Dijakovic this week. You couldn't give him Leon Rush and give Kross Denzel Dijakovic, even though something tells me Dijakovic is on the menu for Kross in the very near future. I have nothing against Denzel, but I just like the name. Could you put a little Dijakovic on my steak? Seriously. But Cameron Grimes. Oh, it's grime time. Yo, it's grime time. That guy looks like if X-Pac was 20 years younger and was in quarantine and didn't cut his hair, didn't shave his beard, and decided to eat nothing but fucking, takeout and, just junk food for about 3 months, I think that he would look like Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes does nothing for me. And it's the dumb, if Finn Balor was out here right now, I'd smack him upside it. Uh-oh. You know what that's going to do? That's going to lead to probably a match between the two next week. Who the fuck cares, man? Cameron Grimes, nothing against him personally, but that guy... So anyway, getting back to... What did I say earlier? 731 for AEW? 731, is that what I said? I'll say 731 for AEW, and NXT does 678. 731 to 678. I almost want to say 688. but, you know, again, those matches were a little bit disappointing. You know, I'll go with 688. Fuck it. You know, the matches felt like takeover quality lineup, but the execution was kind of cacas, in my opinion. But just to wrap up some matches that I did not talk about, Xia Li losing to Chelsea Green in a minute was, what I don't know what the hell they're doing with Xia Li. If you've actually paid attention to Xia Li the last couple of months, you know, she's becoming damaged goods. I'm telling you, she's becoming damaged goods. It's like, I hate to say it like this, I'm not trying to be racial, but it's like you order something that's being shipped from Japan and you fucking open it up and it's all damaged. And it's like, what am I going to do? I can't send it, you know, I can't send it back to Japan right now. You know, the travel ban, you know, they're turning her into damaged goods. And now this tease that Aaliyah might be in Robert Stone's group. Robert Stone gives me the same feeling as, who's that fucking guy, the librarian? Who's that guy that I can't stand that looks like an anorexic wearing a ravishing Rick Rude robe in AEW? What the hell is his name? Darren, not racist. The reason why I said about Xia Li is because if they release her, she can't go back to Japan right now. There's a fucking travel ban. Peter Avalon. I get the same feeling of Robert Stone as Peter Avalon. I don't know. Again, nothing personal against either one of them. I don't know how they got jobs in these companies. Were they Make-A-Wish survivors? Are they blackmailing someone? Do they give good head? Or whichever one. I don't understand. Do they work in the office? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the purpose is. I mean, I could see if they were like insanely great, talented managers on the indie circuit, and, you know, no matter how they looked, this isn't like Larry Sweeney, you know, that all of a sudden he's suddenly, he's in NXT. Who are these guys? How the fuck did they get these jobs? Seriously, did they win an auction? I mean, again, nothing personal, but seriously, does Peter Avalon or Robert Stone, are there any fans out there? Peter Avalon? I don't care whoever's Chinese. There's nothing to do with it. Oh, she's Chinese. All right, so she can't. Are you serious, Anthony? You know, so you really want me to do that? So if they release Xia Li, she can't go back to China. See, and I keep politics off these shows, as you see. I really do my best to keep it off the shows. But you have to admit, like when Trump says the word China, he not only emphasizes it, but sometimes when he does it, he looks the other way. Like if you ever see him at rallies, he'll go, China. So even more, you're going to send Xia Li back to China right now? China, they have to keep her. But man, you know, don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I wish WWE would do a better job with Xia Li. Of course, not everybody could be pushed at the same time. But man, talk about someone coming a long distance that you thought that they had a little bit more, you know, interest in. You know, if you want to job someone like that out, get fucking, you know, Leah DiGiornici from fucking Orlando. You know, not Xia Li from China. So, anyway, what other matches? Tozawa and Gallagher. Well, after tonight, this is the current standings in the tournament. You see where the storyline is going right now for Maverick, right? Maverick's got to beat Kushida. If Maverick doesn't beat Kushida, it's almost history for Maverick. There might be a little swerve with Atlas. Again, I'd like to see Atlas turn heel and maybe, cause Maverick his career if they're going that route. Atlas, not a bad talent. Tozawa at 2-0. You know, let me just say this, and I'll say this nicely. I talked about it on Monday, and it continued for me today. After what they fucking did with Tozawa the last 2 weeks on Raw, and if you missed what I said on Monday, go out of your way to hear it. I don't have any stock in Tozawa at all. Guy gets squashed like a grape on Raw. Then he goes to NXT, and I'm supposed to be like, oh my God, he's 2-0. He could win this whole thing. You know, as I said Monday, it almost feels like Triple H and Paul Heyman right now are butting heads with each other. Because think of two people, Shane Thorne and Tozawa. Shane Thorne, last Monday on Raw, MVP. Hey, player, I could be your manager. I could see you going places. Bowling. Shane Thorne, all right? Shane Thorne, okay. Hey, bowling, blah, 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 blah. That's Paul Heyman booking that. Hey, we see things, something with Shane Thorne. He could be a star. Then we go 2 days later in NXT, and what happens to Shane Thorne? He gets choked out by Dexter Lumis. So it almost felt like Paul Heyman saying, what are you doing? I'm trying to push Shane Thorne on Raw, and you have him choked out by Dexter Lumis. He had almost no offense. What are you doing? All right, you want to play that game, Triple H? I'll show you. You fucking got Tozawa in the Cruiserweight tournament, interim tournament. I'll show you. The next Monday on Raw, a fucking squash him like a grape. Tozawa gets crushed on Monday. All right, gets crushed. So now Triple H is like, oh, he's supposed to be 2-0 in the tournament. Why is Paul Heyman having him job out? Blah, 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 blah. Just, you see what I'm talking about? Raw, Thorne pushed, NXT squashed. Tozawa, Raw squashed, NXT pushed. If I see that, and you see that, and everybody else sees that, how the hell am I supposed to buy into Tozawa possibly winning this whole thing? Are you kidding me? Seriously? I'd rather watch a Bellas match on TV than see that crap, in my opinion. But, overall, look, NXT was a fun show. And, Karrion Kross, beating Leon Rush, I brought it up earlier. Loved the intro. I loved, Scarlett lip syncing. And just the overall eerie feeling to it. They come across as psychos. They come across as angry. Not everybody can come across as angry. People play angry wrestlers on TV, but they don't come across as being angry. By the way, much love, everybody tuning in live. My God, I'm really loving the fact that so many of you are tuning in now. I'm not lying, man. 2 weeks ago, we didn't even have 1/4 of these live viewers. So if you're enjoying us, please, only 10% of you out there only hit the like button if you enjoy. If you don't like it, hit the thumbs down. But if you like the show, hit the thumbs up because it allows my show to be a recommendation for some other people out there. Especially people that can't stand me. Could you just, I'm serious. Could you imagine people that can't stand me? They're on YouTube. They're checking out their favorite podcaster in wrestling. And then it sees recommended and they see my fucking face. The hell's this asshole doing on my recommendations? That's what your like buttons do. I'm starting to learn that. And I salute you for this. This is legit champagne. If you're tuning in late, we paid a little tribute to Supreme XPW, who died in his sleep earlier at the age of 49. And Karrion Kross's debut in NXT. Salute to both of you. Just a little sip. I got to get a little sleep tonight. But seriously. And I am going to buy a whole bunch of these little bottles when we lose someone in wrestling that we all, pretty much really care about. We'll do a toast. Honestly, would I have done a toast to Joe Pedicino? No. But would I have done a toast to like Mean Gene Okerlund or, Howard Finkel? Absolutely. So I will keep some bubbly in the refrigerator, and we'll pay a little tributes to people. And yeah, look, if you like the channel, hit the subscribe button because, we're almost at 11,000. And this is a joint effort, everyone. We're one big family here, seriously. I'm here for all of you, and I absolutely love it. I mean, absolutely love it. I'm going to get that balloon thing fixed next week, and we'll start having a little more interaction. But just to finish up tonight's show a little bit, let's talk a little bit more about AEW. We talked about a few things already. Joey Janela versus Cody. I'll tell you, man, I've sung the praise for Joey Janela before. Some of the criticism Cornette's given him has been warranted. Some of it is definitely not warranted. Sometimes Cornette goes after him just for the sake of going after him. That guy had a 15-plus minute match today. As Kevin Matthews pointed out earlier, the guy hasn't wrestled in about 4 months, and he smokes. And that guy put on a great performance with Cody. But you know what I loved about the match today? It didn't need to be hardcore. Joey Janela, always seems to be getting into these hardcore type matches, but he had a great match with Cody to open up. And I thought it was a great opener. It was interesting. Cody has opened up in matches before for AEW. But, this was a match that I honestly thought would maybe break hour 2. I honestly thought if they were going to do anything with Jake the Snake Roberts and Brandy, that it would be maybe during Cody's match with Joey Janela, maybe at hour 2, and not QT Marshall. I don't mind QT Marshall. I mean, his match earlier today with Lance Archer was fine. But a lot of people don't have that kind of sympathy for QT Marshall. If he gets the shit beat out of him, a lot of people don't have that horrible feeling inside, like, Cody, get him. And by the way, that promo that Brandy cut on Jake the Snake Roberts, get my name out of your mouth and this and that. Look, she used to be the leader of the Nightmare Collective. Now she's the leader of the Double Paycheck Collective, or the Double Check Collective. I'm pretty sure, even though nobody would have the balls to ask them, I'm pretty sure that Cody, Brandy, QT Marshall, and others are getting 2 paychecks. One working in the office, and one as entertainers on camera. Aubrey Edwards, I think she's probably getting 2 paychecks. One in the office, and one as a referee. I'm not saying they don't deserve it, but I'm just saying, QT Marshall, this is a guy that works in the office. He's a damn decent wrestler. But, the way they, portray him sometimes, you just feel like, all right, Lance Archer, if he's going to fight QT Marshall and have a little bit of an emotional reaction to Cody, you would think that Lance Archer would have just destroyed this guy. Picking him up at a 2 count is what heels did as trolls back in the day. I got my AEW title in the back of me, but, it's resting comfortably. But, it was an okay match. Brandy's promo didn't trigger me. It was quick. She's an important figure in AEW. They're going to give her time. She thinks that her value on TV is more than what it may be. Cody may feel the same about her, as do others. Too fucking bad. There's some people on TV that I don't care for, that are on TV, that you may like. Am I a big fan of the Brandy Rhodes character? No, I'm more indifferent than anything else. I understand why she's out there, but it is what it is. I think some people are just jealous that people they don't like get airtime. And, they think that they are 100% right. Brandy has no business being on TV. And then when she's on TV, instead of just ignoring it and maybe paying attention to the people that you do like, they just got to rip her and rip her and rip her and rip her and rip her. I don't know. That's just my feelings on it. But, again, the promo was what it was, but it really didn't do anything to me. Now, Kenzie Page, she wrestled Nyla Rose today. Nyla Rose. She was only 18 years old. She's been wrestling since 14. She was trained by Dr. Tom Pritchard, coaching from Ricky Morton. Didn't look that way tonight, to be honest with you. I mean, you could build up her resume all you want. Honestly, none against Kenzie Page. She's got many years to improve. That was fucking embarrassing today. And if you think that I'm lying, go back and watch the match. Go back and watch after the back body drop to her. And then she slid under Nyla Rose. Nyla Rose was supposed to pick her up by the neck and pull her from underneath and try to lift her in the air. And this fucking Materazzi is sliding herself the other way. Then she punches Nyla Rose. Has no effect on Nyla Rose. And she backtracks. And when she backtracks, she starts running at Nyla Rose. And then, and just gets hit with a clothesline. If you go back and you look at it, you're like, what the fuck did you run at her for? It's not like she ran and tried to throw a punch or a kick. She just ran into a clothesline. It was awful. Then at the end, she gets the first beast bomb, and she lifts her legs up. She lifts her legs up when you want to be pinned or you want to get your ass eaten out. I mean, go look at it again. In the first beast bomb, she puts her legs up like, okay, pin me. And then Nyla Rose, no, it's not good enough. Gave her another beast bomb and then pinned her. There's a reason why somebody at 18 years old, no matter who the fuck trains you, why that person should not be on television. I don't know, you mean to tell me there wasn't Pineapple Paula in the crowd that had a little bit more ability? I mean, my God, Nyla Rose is improved. You put her up against this? Seriously? Go back and watch it. Watch the whole match and only focus on Kenzie Page. Seriously. Go back on TV when you turn 28, honey. I'm sorry for being a little bit cruel about this, but, if you're going to try to throw in my face, she's been wrestling for years and she was trained by Dr. Tom Pritchard and she got coaching by Ricky Morton, well, get your fucking money back. Seriously. That was just god-awful. And the funny thing is, a lot of people won't even realize why it was god-awful. It's just my opinion. This is AEW. This is a promotion on TNT. It's not a promotion on Hick TV. And you know what? Since so many of you are still here, I'm going to take a sip of my water. I think I'll stay for another 15, 20 minutes. We were going to end the show now, but we just went over the 2-hour mark. So let's continue. Did you hear earlier Tony Khan doing an interview online? I think it was for the AEW pre-show. And Tony Khan was saying that originally they were going to have Colt Cabana and Shawn Spears share the commentating duties. You know what? I should have bribed you a different way. Hey, everybody. If you want me to stick around for like another 15 minutes, I'd appreciate it. If you're enjoying the show, just hit the thumbs up button, because still only about 10% of you tuning in live hit the thumbs up. So that would mean a lot to me. So, and I'll keep going. How's that? In fact, if we don't hit 300 likes by 12:15, right now it's 12:08. If we don't hit 300 likes by 12:15, I'm done. I don't like playing that game. I finish when I want to finish, but I'd appreciate it. But Tony Khan said that originally Shawn Spears and Colt Cabana were going to share commentating duties with Shivani instead of Jericho. And Jericho is the one that stepped up and said, I'll do it. And some people got confused online because they thought that Colt Cabana and Shawn Spears were going to be the commentating team. I don't think that's what Tony Khan was saying. They were going to rotate. Shawn Spears would do a little commentary. Colt Cabana would do a little commentary. Colt Cabana, obviously, we've heard on commentary before, and he's pretty good at it. But if Jericho wouldn't have stepped up and offered to do the commentating, we would have had Shawn Spears and Colt Cabana doing duties with Tony Schiavone. Again, not trying to disrespect NXT in any way, shape, or form. But when you hear even a story like that Chris Jericho stepped up and said, I'll do it. Again, the aura, the feeling I get more from AEW is that a lot of people I see there, they're there, of course, because of money, obviously, but you get that feeling that the people are there because they want to be there. Unlike a lot of people in NXT, you feel like they're there because they have to be there. There is such a difference between wanting to be somewhere and having to be somewhere. And even if it's not true, even if everybody in AEW was there strictly to get a paycheck and that's it, it's how it comes off on TV. Yes, please hit the like. My God, I think only 10 of you obliged. I'm not forcing anybody. But, it definitely would get me a little more exposure. But if Shawn, I don't know how Shawn Spears would be on commentary on an extended basis. What I would suggest is with AEW Dark, maybe you start putting Shawn Spears featured a lot more on commentary and see how people react to it. It was funny today to see Shawn Spears cut a promo from, I guess, his hotel room, and then they immediately go to the ringside area and he's interviewed, and earlier he's got a 5 o'clock shadow, and ringside he's got completely shaven, which made me believe that original promo, I know what some of you are going to say, oh, he might have shaved earlier in the day. I shaved early in the day, but I think that promo was probably from several weeks ago. But Shawn Spears, look, this whole looking for a tag team partner thing didn't seem to go anywhere. You almost wonder if maybe Shawn Spears aligning himself with maybe MJF or Wardlow, or I don't think they need to have a faction or anything like that. But maybe you just have them interact a little bit more in the ring. Maybe you do a tag team match here and there. I'm not saying they have to go for any tag titles or anything, but, Shawn Spears, hey, he's not a bad talent. But I was laughing earlier because when they said that Chris Jericho did the commentating, like I just thought of like baseball announcing, because Shawn Spears used to be perfect 10. And I was like, now batting for Chris Jericho, or, number 10, Shawn Spears. But I don't know he would be on commentary, but, he is what he is. MJF's promo today was great. Talking about The Rock, Roddy Piper, Ric Flair. But what is really starting to get under people's skin online is not this anymore towards kids. It's MJF talking in the third person. And still, since I said that before, 2 people hit the like button. So, hey, if you don't want to do it, I'm not going to keep bringing it up. Some people that are just tuning into plain audio only are like, stop freaking talking about the like button. But, so we get to see MJF next week. Don't know who he's facing. Jericho returns to action next week. Don't know who he's facing. Makes you wonder if it was a really top-notch opponent, they probably would have advertised it. Sure, you don't want to display all your cards. And hell, maybe they set up a little segment earlier in the night that leads up to a match later on. But the match, the main event, Matt Hardy, Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, and Sammy Guevara. This was similar with Velveteen Dream, but the cameras did it the right way. With Kenny Omega, the cameras did it the wrong way. Towards the end of Velveteen Dream versus Adam Cole, there was a point where the Undisputed Era was outside the ring, Dexter Lumis as well. Velveteen Dream, when he realized that the referee was knocked out, he decides he's going to do a dive outside the ring onto the Undisputed Era. And, Undisputed Era and Dexter Lumis are setting themselves up to catch Velveteen Dream. Camera did it the right way, so you really didn't see them all that much. But when Kenny Omega climbed that like scissor thing, it looked like, a forklift, but it was a scissor. I thought that was awesome, man. That's something like I would love to have for my pool. You get one of those, just like it opens up. Oh, man, that looked fun. But the problem was you had Jericho, Hager was there. Santana Ortiz making an appearance later on. They're finally back. But when you have Jericho and Hager and Guevara, and they're brawling with Matt Hardy and Kenny Omega, again, this is probably a problem where, you're live, what are you going to do? But Omega is climbing up this thing, and the scissor thing is opening up. And then he climbs that rail. Yes, Johnny Z, I talked about Charlotte and Io earlier quite a bit. But when Omega climbed that forklift thing, the camera work was god-awful because Kenny Omega needed a little extra time to do his dive. And you pay attention to the guys on the ground, and they were setting up for this dive. And Matt Hardy especially, look, I am a huge fan of Matt Hardy. You all know that. I mean, Matt Hardy, Many years ago, I ripped him for his, medicinal abuse, but I fucking praise the guy now. I've been praising him for years. But even when you go back and look at that, when Kenny Omega climbed up, he fucking knocked out Matt Hardy, I think, more than anybody else. But when they were setting themselves up to catch Omega, like it took so long and the camera was right on him. You look at Matt Hardy, he looked like someone that had to pee or shit and someone else is in the bathroom and you're holding it in and you can't hold it in anymore. If you actually look from the back, he's like this. It just did not look good at all. But there were so many points in the match that were entertaining as fuck. I loved that they had so many people backstage. It was cool to see. I know it sounds weird, but it was cool to see kids with their families. We haven't seen any of that at all. When Matt Hardy went into the golf cart thing and he's going off and running over Jericho and going after Guevara, I mean, you know what that looked like? It's a horrible, horrible comparison. And the only reason why I'm bringing it up is because I actually watched some of the movie the other day. Anybody out there ever see the movie Dawn of the Dead? The original one. The original Dawn of the Dead from the late 70s or early 80s or whatever. When I saw that with my grandmother when I was a little kid, the one thing that I always remembered from that movie besides the zombies, I remember me and my friends always saying man, how cool would it be if we would be in a mall that was closed and we would be the only ones that would have access. It would just be like an extreme edition of Home Alone. It would be Mall Alone. You would just go in every store and just raid everything and nobody would be able to bust you. Yes, George Romero. Yes, Ray. That Dawn of the Dead. That's what it felt like today. It felt like kids that had the keys to the store and they're running around the mall and doing whatever the fuck they want. They don't have to worry about security catching them and this and that. That's what made it so cool today. I know empty arenas suck. Empty arena wrestling sucks. There's nothing like performing in front of a crowd. But I'll say something tonight about that main event and brawling in the back that I know some of you out there will relate to this. You actually look when they were brawling in the back area and they were going, with the golf cart and brawling. My God, Chris Jericho putting the traffic cone on his head and he's acting like a witch. Just little things like that just get me laughing because they're just ad-libbing and just coming up with things. They see something, instant reaction. Some of the best stuff is the stuff you don't plan out. But the one thing about the back is how many of you out there in your lifetime have gone to your local indie wrestling show that draws 50. My God. TNA. You remember the photos of the baseball field? Do you remember that infamous photo that I did? And if people want, I'll pull it and I'll show you next week. TNA, towards the end of the Dixie Carter reign, they did a show once at a baseball field. And the baseball field held 7,000 seats. And there was so little fans there that me, out of boredom one day, I took a number, and I actually wrote a number. I took the Photoshop or Coral Paint Shop Pro. I typed the number above every person, and I was doing 1, 2, 3, and I counted every head that was in the building. And the reason why it was easy to do is because when you saw the camera from center field coming in, there were no fans behind you. So you got to see the entire arena, the stadium. And when I counted, it was 117 fans. And that was including vendors and security. It was 100 people. It was depressing. But at the same time, I thought of that today because backstage there was probably about maybe, 40? Would you say 40? Would that be about a decent, between the wrestlers and the people that were there, 30 or 40? I've been at wrestling events where there's only 30 or 40 people. But if you're loud and you're energetic and you're just brawling and just going at it, you kind of forget about that a little bit. And honestly, the way AEW had their setup today, it did not feel that much like an empty arena. And I'm telling you, man, that's the thing that WWE, that's probably out of everything with the empty arenas, because some people have asked me this question before and I really never had a good answer to it. But out of everything with the empty arenas, not even people staying home. Roman Reigns wants to stay home. Sami Zayn wants to stay home. John, some people want to stay home. They don't feel comfortable. I totally respect it. I really do. But if you can't, maximize and you don't want to do things because your competitor has done it, that's terrible, man. Because WWE back in the day, the TNA did it to WWE, but WWE did it many times to TNA back in the day. TNA would have a storyline, some type of a storyline. WWE would do something very similar. That happened many times in the past, and the opposite. So why WWE, especially in fucking Florida? That's the thing that pisses me off probably more than anything else. AEW today was in Jacksonville, Florida. They were not in North Carolina. They were not in Atlanta, Georgia. They were in Florida. Where is WWE? Florida. Everybody got rapid tested. Why does WWE still feel the need to sequester or keep groups of people in the hotel? Instead, bring them all in there, or bring 10 at a time. Everybody gets a fucking rapid test. And if everybody is clear of the virus, everybody in that arena, workers, they all know nobody is sick. Fill the goddamn arena with 10, 20, 30 of the talents. I mean, it's not fucking hard. I mean, you put Denzel Dijonette, Leon Rush, fucking Cameron Grimes. There's plenty of people that you could fucking put, even if it's 10 people, if they're loud, if they're making noise, Shawn Spears had a goddamn air horn today. An air horn. You put 10, 20 people, and let's also remember, if you're in an empty building and you have a few people, there's nothing to absorb the sound. So it echoes even more. So people yelling and making noise, you actually hear it more. So WWE is so goddamn stubborn right now that they think it looks cooler to have it pitch black in the background and all you see is 2 or 3 people in the ring. Yet you look at the AEW stuff, especially brawling in the back, it's the same state, everybody. They were in the same state, Florida. Why do you not do it? They are stubborn. I guess we could get close to ending the show today, unless you want me to, maybe I will read Sunny's statement, because I think it's interesting of what she said. But, just to wrap up AEW and NXT today, it's exactly what I said in the beginning. NXT is WWE, publicly traded billion dollar company. They're very professional. But it feels like going into a party where everything is fancy and professional and all set up and nobody fucking wants to go, because just because you're going on a higher end party doesn't mean it's going to be fun. You look at AEW, it's like going to a barbecue. Everybody's hanging out, screaming, blowing air horns, trolling, screaming, da-da-da. It just looks better and it sounds better. I think if WWE would just put some people around the ring, make noise, act like fans. My God, you see a few people, it gives you, even if they're all wrestlers. What happened to wrestlers doing interviews saying, not only am I a wrestler, I'm also a fan. I've always been a fan of pro wrestling. Well, if you're a fucking fan of pro wrestling, go around ringside and pretend you're a fucking fan for a little while. I blame this on WWE. I don't think the wrestlers are like, nah, man, I'm staying in a hotel, watching Netflix. Nah, I'm not doing it. I'm telling you, man, it's it just the overall atmosphere. You know, it's when you're in dead silence, you put a headlock on someone, I could fucking hear my stomach gurgling. I mean, I could hear the acid in my stomach. WWE is totally missing the boat with this, man. You can have the greatest NXT advertised match right now, and if it doesn't feel like an energy in the building, even with a handful of people, that's why their ratings are as bad as what they are. I brought it up Monday. You look at musical artists that are performing in their living rooms doing a cappella stuff, and people are watching it in droves. You know, you mean to tell me, seriously, everybody tuning in, whether you're a fan of AEW or NXT, let's be honest for a minute. Is WWE really doing the best that they could with these empty arena things? Again, doesn't it feel like they're doing it because they have to do it more than anything else? Sure, AEW has to do it too. But, you know, when you have to do something, but you enjoy doing it and you're having fun doing it, you know how people sometimes say, I don't even consider it a job. This I'm doing here is a job. Technically, I'm working 4 jobs right now trying to make ends meet, you know. But when you have so much fun, it doesn't feel like a job. So, I don't know. I don't know how you all think about it. Definitely, without a doubt, hit the like button. No, but definitely without a doubt, post your comments on YouTube. I definitely interact as much as I can with everybody. I definitely would love to know, you know, some of your feedback of some of the things we talked about today. But, you know, I honestly believe the combined rating will be a hell of a lot better than what it has been. If it's not anywhere near the numbers that I said earlier, that's very disturbing, because I thought on paper this might have been one of the best combined cards as far as matches lined up in a while. The Matt Hardy, Kenny Omega, Jericho Guevara match, as sloppy as it was at times, as, you know, discombobulated and disorganized as it was, from the beginning of the match to the end of the match, I enjoyed it. It didn't hit lulls. It didn't get boring. It was corny in some ways, but I'm telling you, that match from beginning, it surprised me. It surprised me how long the main event of AEW was going when I heard the commentators, you know, announce Dream and Cole in the ring. I looked at the clock and I was like, holy shit, this match has been going, and now they're putting this on? I thought, okay, maybe 5-hour overrun. 5-hour overrun. 5-minute overrun. But no, I was very, very surprised. Very surprised. So, let's see. Let me see. Do I have Sunny stuff over here? I think I do. I should. Yeah. Sunny. A lot of you been talking about her with the OnlyFans stuff, her being in jail for a year, the DUI stuff. Well, she made a little statement earlier today, and I wanted to share with everyone. I was originally going to take little bits and pieces of it, but, you know, it's not long. But she actually does reveal some things that some of you may not be aware of already. But she mentions that in February 2019, she missed a probation appointment due to lack of transportation. Her probation officer was not willing to work with her to reschedule the appointment, and as a result, there was a parole violation, which means a warrant for her arrest. In Carbon County, Pennsylvania, the probation parole department is very, very strict. And instead of trying to accommodate clients, try to work around them, you know, they're very quick to lock people up. When she missed that appointment, 2 weeks later, she got pulled over. When they ran her name, she had a probation violation in Pennsylvania and they had a warrant. So they took her into custody. She was brought to the Monmouth County Jail in New Jersey. And this resulted in another violation because she wasn't supposed to be out of the state of Pennsylvania. When she got pulled over, she was in Jersey. So she was transferred to the Carbon County, Pennsylvania Correctional Facility, and they made her sit in jail for 5 months before she had her day in court. So she was in jail 5 months until her next court hearing. So after about 5 or 6 months in jail, they finally have a court hearing, and they sentenced her to another 6 months in jail on a parole violation. So she had 1 year in jail, and she talked about when she got pulled over in Jersey. Let's also be clear here. There was a DUI involved as well in Jersey. But she sat in jail for 5 months, and then when she finally had her day in court, they sentenced her to another 6 months in jail. So she was in jail for almost a year because of a DUI, which she had in the past, and a parole violation. Now, I don't recall if she got also violation of driving without a license, because this was not mentioned in her statement. But the bottom line is that she spent a year in jail. She is celebrating now 14 months of sobriety because she was in jail for a year and she's been out for a couple of months now. And she said, look, alcohol is a crutch. And she says people talk down to her. And she says that, she doesn't wake up to, drink and drive. She says that probably all of us, and I know I'm guilty of it. I haven't done this in 20 years, but a lot of us are guilty of going out with friends, having a couple of drinks, and we drive home under a little bit of the influence. Problem with her is she gets caught all the time because she can't drive under the influence. And she said getting a DUI doesn't make her a bad person, but she's battling a disease. And, you know me, if you follow my shows, I've talked about alcoholism being a disease. Jeff Hardy is a disease. Jimmy Uso, he's the one that got arrested. Jey Uso. He's got an alcohol problem. It's a disease. That's what it is. Anybody that has ever had a relative with a drinking problem, it is a disease. An addiction is a disease. And, she's trying to improve her life every day. And, the OnlyFans account that she has, she reminded everyone that she set up this account in 2017. And she only started posting again because, one, she's out of jail, and two, as a way to make money. And she's got over 1,500 subscribers. You do the math. I think that's like a couple of $100,000 that she's making off of that. So she said to me, she's not committing any crimes. If you don't like what she's doing, don't pay attention to it. And I agree. It's not for everybody. Obviously, this adult stuff is not for everybody. But, she's trying to make a living out of it. And as long as she's fine by it, as long as her significant other is fine by it, she thinks that people should not keep putting her down. And honestly, I agree. I don't go on her page. And I think, again, a lot of people, forget how old she is. Yeah, when people get older, they're not maybe how you remember them to be. She's not, I've said this many times in the past, Sonny will not be 1995 Sonny forever. And that goes for a lot of people you see on TV now. 10 years from now, some of the older women you see in wrestling, you see how they age. I don't want to single out anybody individually, but I just think it's not just a jealousy factor. It's a weird thing on social media, man. I'm not going to go into the whole rant. You already know all that, but there's just some weird shit going on social media. It's toxic. You have to feel guilty about posting good news. And I'm sure a lot of you have done that. You almost feel guilty about posting good news. And the worst part about it is if you bitch, and case in point, my COVID-19 results, all right, I posted them. You get more people that will appreciate something you made for dinner than telling everybody that you got tested and you don't have the virus. I mean, again, I always talk about it with the podcast and the YouTube stuff and the video. Since I have been doing this the middle of January, look at all the great announcements on my Twitter. Look at all the posts. Every milestone and all the stuff you do and advancing and improving and trying to... Just look at the people who have never liked any of the stuff I posted even once. There's a reason behind it. It's bitterness. It is absolute bitterness. And it blows me away that some people out there are so bitter at other people having good news, having success. All right, maybe you don't have the same success right now or have the same luck or anything like that. But it's such a bitter pill for them to take that they don't even, show that they care. So same thing. Yeah, no, Benjamin, believe me, I have posted on Facebook 3 times in the last year on my personal Facebook page. I posted once about my mom. I posted once to wish my friend a happy birthday, and I thanked everybody for the birthday wish. I think that's it in the last year. I don't like to use social media like I used to. It's toxic. But I see what goes on with Sunny. And again, I don't subscribe to her account. Even if I was single right now, I probably wouldn't. But, she's not committing any crimes, and yeah, I think some people are just absolutely flabbergasted that someone in her 40s, could get that much money from stuff like that. So she's got an OnlyFans account. So other women have OnlyFans accounts. So fucking what? Why are people so bitter that other people are trying to find ways to make money? They want to show their bodies off. And you know what's funny too? I don't know if you all noticed this. You notice most of the people who are the loudest at being outspoken about this are the ones that don't reveal themselves, or they post a very old photo of themselves. They're so uncomfortable. They're so, I'm trying to think of the right word. They're so insecure about themselves. They can't show you what they look like in 2020. Just think about that for a minute. Not even a headshot. I mean, they'll just either show no photo, it'll be a logo, or it'll be a baby picture, or it'll be a picture from 20 years ago. How do you put any attention or any time in someone who is so insecure about themselves they can't even show you what they look like? That's embarrassing, that's terrible, that's disrespectful. And I see so many of these people. I saw earlier, Enzo posted a video as Eric. He was talking in his regular voice. He was talking about, be a person, not a robot. And he posted a 2-minute clip, and I loved it. He's one of the few people I follow on Twitter. And I saw asshole after asshole after asshole after asshole knocking this person. And the funny thing about it is if you go back and you look at it today, you look at all those people ripping them, almost none of them have any photos of themselves up. So I just think it's pretty pathetic. And I feel bad for her. I really do. So, it is what it is, everybody. But you know what? Maybe I should have mentioned this a little bit earlier, but I just wanted to send thoughts, even though he's not going to hear this, but maybe you all are a fan of Michael Elgin. He's got a 13-year-old cousin that was diagnosed with leukemia. And he really, was very emotional about it online. So my thoughts and prayers are with Michael Elgin's family. And if you're a fan of his, you probably would appreciate if you stop by his social media wall and just, send some thoughts his way, because it sucks to get leukemia, but my God, 13 years old to get something like that, not good. So MLW, they're trying to work out TV deals, good for them. They just made a deal that they're partnering with Fight Globe. That's going to result in MLW content airing in Europe, Asia, Latin America, Middle East, Africa, Canada, Mexico. Not bad. This is probably the time where you should be making deals. Seriously. Right now, and I say this about social media, right now with this quarantine, this should be the time where you learn a new trade, learn something else. And this is also a time where if you can make some deals, make them now. Take advantage of the fact that people are willing to deal. I'm telling you, my father, I shouldn't even be saying this. My father called me up today and he's like, how's your truck? I got a 2013 Kia Sorento. I bought it off my dad in 2014. He bought it when Sandy hit. I bought it off of him because he got a Mercedes truck. He's got a 2015, was it ML350 or something like that? It's like $60,000, $70,000 truck, something like that. And he says to me today, he goes, you want my truck? I said, what are you, crazy? I don't have that money. He's like, no. He says, give me your Kia. And he's going to use that as a training, and he's going to get a new Mercedes. And I said to him, I said, how much, you want me to give you my Kia? First of all, my Kia only has 20,000 miles on it. His Mercedes is a lot more. But I'm probably not doing that. The point is that he started telling me that Mercedes started offering him an insane fucking deal for a new Mercedes. And he's thinking about leasing and this and that. And then I started looking online, and there are so many crazy deals right now that you can make. I'm of course, people aren't working, but now's the time that if you were contemplating on doing something, you probably should do it. If you're home, you're not doing nothing, learn another trade. Learn something else. Learn how to do something. I think too many people are just sitting on social media and just complaining all day and looking for attention. And then meanwhile, 2-3 months go by and they haven't done anything in case there's another crisis where you find another type of way to get income. So, I didn't see that short movie, Plandemic yet. Pandemic? I haven't seen it yet. I saw the clips of it. I'll probably watch it on Friday. New Japan Pro Wrestling, they were going to have the Best of the Super Juniors in May and June. They have officially canceled it. So Best of the Super Juniors for this year is done. It will not be back until next year. So, New Japan, their company is strong, but they're going through some major hard times right now. Ring of Honor, I'm a little concerned for. Ring of Honor has canceled shows in June. And, Ring of Honor, it was very admirable to them that they were paying some of the wrestlers, I think early on, for shows that were canceled. I'm pretty sure all these wrestlers can be collecting pandemic unemployment insurance right now, which is $600 a week from the government for 36 weeks or 39 weeks or something like that. So it's not, when you hear about, wrestlers are completely out of work and they're not doing nothing right now, no, that's not actually true, because even if you're an independent contractor, you can collect pandemic unemployment insurance. Problem is, depending on where you live, you probably still haven't gotten it. I know people firsthand that applied for pandemic in March still have gotten nothing. Now, when they do get a check, it's going to be like they hit the lottery, because they get all those back weeks. So if any of you out there that have filed for unemployment or pandemic, I can't believe all of you are still tuning in like this. This blows me away. And only 10% of you have hit the thumbs up. Amazing. I tell you, I'm a little surprised, I'm not going to lie, but hey, it's all good. It's all good. You're tuning in, and that's what I appreciate the most. Look, I'm going almost 40 minutes extra right now. But for anybody out there in the United States, because I don't know how it operates overseas, but if you've applied for unemployment or pandemic unemployment, be patient. In New York over here, it is crazy. If you want to be amused, go on Twitter, and in the search box, just write this, PUA space NY. And then when you get the search results, hit the word latest, the column latest, and just see what you read. It's crazy shit going on. I know across the United States, everybody thinks that our Governor Cuomo is like the greatest thing around. You have no idea what's going on in New York right now. They have processed maybe 5 or 10% of the total amount of unemployment applications. There's no phone number to call. When you call a phone number, it just says, go on the website. You go on the website and you log in and it says, we have your application. If we need to call you, we'll call you. There's nothing you can do. You see on Twitter, the DOL, Department of Labor, gives the same response. The only thing good about it is everybody that applied, once you do get your check, they owe you all the way back to when you applied. So for everybody out there, stay strong. Keep, the pace. Anthony Diaz thinks that there's 2,000 bots watching this show right now? I don't think so. First of all, there'd be no reason for bots to be up at 1 o'clock in the morning watching Wednesday Night Dynamite. It doesn't make sense. But getting back to the unemployment, I know this is not about wrestling, but, you know, just stay strong, because when you do get it, if you applied a month ago, 2 months ago, especially the pandemic, you applied 2 months ago, you get a check even tomorrow, they could owe you 8 weeks at $600 a week. You could get like $4 or $5 grand in the mail. You could feel like you hit the lottery, you know? You could PayPal me too. No, Jason, man. Nah, man, I can't do that. I can't. I appreciate this man more than you know. And anybody tuning in right now, you know for a goddamn fact that I'm always singing the love to Jason on here. Thank you so much, my friend. But you don't have to do that. Seriously. I know you kick fucking ass, and I am extremely jealous at some of your... Look at it like this, man. Seriously, I got to show this to Jason. All right? I can't. I got boxer shorts on. I want to show him something. You got a kick out of this. All right? Last week, when I did the one-chip challenge, I blew one of these up. And you saw the photo of what this place looked like after. It's weird. I still, like, you see this? I vacuumed and swept and vacuumed and swept. And for some reason, it's still paper appearing everywhere. And it was this little thing. So my idea was, all right, you know, maybe if somebody contributes like $20 or $50, I'll blow one of these things up. My original thought was $20, I blow one of these up, and $50, I blow one of these up. All right, now think about this for a minute. This thing is the thing I blew up last week, and you saw the damage that it made around here. You imagine if I blow one of these up in my house? And what I actually did, and I appreciate everybody who's given me tips on YouTube. I bought these things as stickers. And they're supposed to be on like post office boxes. And they said, you just put like the price over here and you put it in the background. Look, I'm not begging for cash and I'm not desperate for cash. I'm working 4 jobs right now. I'm doing insurance, the podcasting a little bit, even though, like I said, last month, Jason, he was part of the contribution. I posted the screenshot Friday. All the money we raised on my birthday, we donated to COVID-19 relief fund. I posted the receipts on Friday. I do taxes. I'm still doing people's taxes. And I do deliveries. You know, gotta do whatever you can. But thank you, Jason, for that. I really appreciate it. I mean, you know, I don't like singling out individual shows because I forget people, and it's not intentional. But when I think of Lee with RCWR, when I think of OK Fabe, Mish, Jason, JD, Cronin, Dells, another good guy as well. You know, those guys who all have a YouTube presence. Not Mish, but, you know, everybody has a YouTube presence. And not one of them shows any angst my way. And as many of those shows that I talked about, you'd be surprised if other shows that will, you know, say to my face, oh, man, keep it up, man. Awesome. I watch it. And then behind my back, they're doing this to me. So I really appreciate it. And, hey, you know, like I said, I'm not in any way, shape, or form trying to take anybody's viewers away from any shows out there. And I tell people all the time, if there's another show that you enjoy watching live on a Monday, on a Wednesday, on a Friday, on a Saturday, Sunday, the pay-per-view recap, I'm going to be doing a recap after Money in the Bank. But hey, if there's another show that you prefer to tune in live, go watch it. Enjoy it. You know, my show, I'm not going to get flagged on YouTube. I'm not going to get any copyright things done. Man, and it sucks because some weird is going on right now with WWE and even AEW to an extent. Jason had a little scare like a month or 2 ago that somehow he got a copyright flag on YouTube because of AEW, and he didn't do nothing wrong. Now, luckily, it all got cleared up within a day or a few hours. But, now I'm seeing other podcasters who are getting flagged for posting these, what are they pronounced GIFs? I always said GIFs, GIFs, and I have tons of GIFs, not GIFs, but GIFs, those animated files. I have one on Twitter today I wanted to share with everybody of the camera when they showed the beginning of AEW and they panned the crowd, at ringside, and for a second you forgot that it was just wrestlers. It looked like fans, leaning on the guardrail, sitting front row. And something like that I would want to share. But apparently, WWE and AEW are sending flags now for a simple 5-second animated file. And I'm saying to myself, Minga, your ratings are not spectacular. Yes, under the circumstances, but you should appreciate any exposure, any publicity. Now, luckily for me, and this is a weird thing for me, my history show. People have asked me to bring back the history show, put it on here. And I said I can't, because the history show, half of the show was clips. And man, if you want some audio only stuff about history stuff, go check out This Week in Wrestling History, season 2, when I first started season 2. There's so many memories out there that you probably have never seen before. Like I said, I have Herb Abrams stuff on there. When Howard Finkel died, I had stuff there. But the thing is that half the shows are footage. And the funny thing is that Impact Wrestling was not thrilled at me playing matches either. But I never once had WWE, Impact Wrestling, MLW, or others send me a takedown request. Never once. One time with WWE, I actually, I'd spoke to someone about it, and they're like, leave it off YouTube. They have no problem with it. So I have been very, very lucky over the years to have no copyright takedowns. I mean, none. I have posted couple of quick clips, and I've asked people for permission. The Michael Nakazawa stuff, I asked permission for that, and I got a pretty cool response. I still got to say, go ahead. I put the credit on the bottom. That was it. But it just blows me away that they're now sending copyright flags for a 5-second animated file. That's ridiculous. That's horrible. And it just blows me away, especially right now, man. Get as much publicity, free publicity, as you can. So, I don't know, man. But, no, I agree with you, Darren. There's a big difference between copyright infringement and free advertising because you actually liked it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But, when people are posting a lot of these animated files that are being taken down, hey, you know what? We should do that. Jason, salute, man. I took out this little champagne earlier for Supreme and Karrion Kross, Supreme, rest in peace, Karrion Kross's debut, and that's for the kind words and the that money. I'm going to be returning that favor. Maybe next month. No. But cheers. But, yeah, no. But I'll tell you, over the years, though, the one who has been the biggest complainer online is Impact Wrestling and TNA. Really can't say TNA anymore because it's been gone for a while, but Impact Wrestling, man, you go on YouTube. Oh, you know who's really bad too? Ring of Honor. Oh my God. You know what? Ring of Honor is worse than Impact Wrestling. You go on YouTube and you search Ring of Honor footage, usually you either get a fan cam that's horrendous quality, or it's a music video. It's like people post clips to like some music. It's very rare that you find full matches unless they put it on themselves. I can't tell you how many times I wanted to put some history of Ring of Honor on the shows. CM Punk, when he was going to leave. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn and others when they were in Ring of Honor. And you look and look and look for footage, and all you see is takedown requests. Out of everybody, Ring of Honor is absolutely the worst. Absolutely the worst. Dalvin is, he's like, you should do a PayPal donation to Jason this upcoming weekend. He's really trying to, like, before I could put the food in my mouth, he's ripping it out, Dalvin. Why don't I just give it back to him right now? Let me go in his expired videos. I'll do it probably Monday. I got to do a show Sunday. You know what the problem is? A lot of times when I'm live, so is he. But I will definitely return the favor. Much love. Thank you. That was really cool. And it's awesome, man. I tell you, like the names I mentioned before, you know, it's the camaraderie on YouTube. I thought it was going to be horrible. I thought it was going to be a lot of cutthroat and this and that. And it is nothing of the case. You got some people, but much better. And my God, everybody tuning in, man, I fucking love it. I love it. It blew me away in like the last 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, the people tuning in has tripled. So I don't know what's been different. You know, maybe, you know, it just everybody is getting a little bit insane because of this pandemic. But, you know, hey, I always welcome any feedback. As you can see, we're ending the show now. But I welcome any feedback. You know, you're more than welcome to post your comments. You know, if you really don't like something that I do or you think I should change something, just tell me, man. You know, the only thing I ask is, you know, if you get a troll, you know, I'm either going to ignore you or just troll you back. But, you know, if I suck, tell me why I suck. If you think something should be better, you know, I tried tonight I did something different. I talked about NXT and AEW throughout the whole night. Because I did have people saying to me, wow, you spend this much time on AEW and you spend this much time on NXT. So I figured, okay, if I keep going back and forth, maybe it'll be a better balance. And I got to be honest with you, it actually seemed to have gone pretty well. But, you know, keep sending your feedback because you could see, man, I did audio only for 22 years, a little over 22 years. I'm only on video here since the middle of January 20th to be exact. So February, March, April, and this is May 7th. So 3.5 months I'm on video. And you could see how this has evolved already. And believe me when I tell you, this is fun. It's exhausting sometimes, but I am having a ball. And as this show evolves and all the footage and content evolves, it's based on your feedback. Trust me, things like these things, and we're going to start doing memberships with Q&As and private Q&As and other stuff. That's all ideas from a lot of you out there sending it to me. So please keep sending your feedback. YouTube, email, Twitter, best ways to reach me. But, man, it's awesome. I fucking love it, man. And I tell you, I'll leave you with this, and I know I've said this 1,000 times before. When I see this much response in such a short amount of time, all that keeps ringing through my ear are the people that were trying so hard to stop me from doing this and giving me guilt trips that, you know, I should not evolve. If other people in my inner circle don't want to advance, then I shouldn't either. Like I'm doing something wrong. And it's like, my God, why can't I give a different extension of myself? I want you to be able to see me. You know, we toast people or we blow up stupid stuff or we do chip challenges or whatever we do. We talk about real life stuff. You know, I may not be able to see all of you right now, but, you know, it's a connection. It's a connection. And I poke fun at myself now, stuff I would never be able to, would dare do in the past. And, you know, I just think that authenticity is the number one most important aspect of anybody. And, you know, it's just a shame to see how much, you know, fraud is out there. And I just rather be authentic over here. And I think having that video connection really does show that. It's like I said early on, the one thing that I kept getting over and over, I still get it now, but I got it more than anything else for the first 2 months doing this is, wow, for all of these years, I heard you, I saw a logo, I saw a picture here and there, but now I see the live person. You are nothing like I originally thought that you were. I thought you were this big racist asshole, this and that. And I'm like, nah, man, this is me and only me. Even that thing. See, Jared, see? You know, I'm just trying to think of little things of saying thank you. And like I said, I always try to put things back in the show. I always try to do that. There are some people out there that will just take. Biggest supporters of wrestlers won't even buy their shirt, you know. But thank you, Jared, for that. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. And I'm not just saying this to pander, but putting me in the same category as Jason is absolutely complimentary. But I think it's time for me to exit for today. We're approaching 3 hours. Wow, 3 hour show, man. But I loved it. So if you're around Friday night, I will be right back here for the Don Tony Show. I will be giving you my Money in the Bank pay-per-view predictions. I'll talk about the Patreon contest because we may just do straight-up cash prize this time around since Money in the Bank is pre-recorded and we're worried about spoilers and this and that, unless we get really creative with some bonus points. We'll see. But Friday, a lot of it's going to be off the cuff. You know, and it's weird because Friday, up until, you know, this week, the last 3 Fridays have been the most watched shows pretty much on average of any shows that I do. But tonight brought this show up to a different level because tonight, a lot more people than last week, which is interesting. But you know what? That might be because more people tuned into wrestling tonight. So I am pretty confident that the ratings Thursday are going to be a decent number. Not as big as when they first started last summer, fall, whatever you want to call it, but it will be, I think, substantially better than what we've had in the last couple of weeks. Now the big challenge is if their ratings were much better, they got to keep it. They should be able to build on it. With the disease going away, I'm telling you, I'll leave you with this. Rapid test is going to be the game changer for wrestlers to come back to promotions. Roman Reigns, don't be surprised if everybody in the building is rapid tested earlier that day. Don't be surprised if that guy makes an appearance, because if everybody you know in that building has been tested earlier in the day, and sure, some people will be like, well, how do I know the test is 100% proof? Well, you don't know, you know, but again, I kind of wish I had the antibodies. I was hoping that the doctor said to me, well, you had COVID before, maybe not even realize that. I kind of wished that I did, because then I would have antibodies, wouldn't have to worry about it. But then the opposite side of me, I'll admit it. We went to that big event autograph signing about a month and a half ago with Matt Hardy, and Taker was there, Strowman, and a bunch of Enzo, everybody. I mean, my God, there was so many people there. But, you know, I hugged a lot of people and gave a couple of people a kiss and this and that. And this was right at when COVID was starting to become an issue in the United States. They weren't social distancing yet, and there was no travel bans yet. But when I left that place, Shaheen will tell you, Mish was with me. You saw pictures. I felt bad that I honestly felt that I invaded some people's space. There were a couple of people I gave hugs to, and then I thought about it after. I'm like, you know, I think that person might have felt a little bit uncomfortable that with the COVID going on. Now, we didn't know at the time how bad it was going to be, but that was the one thing stopping me from saying, I wish I had COVID and not known it. Because if that would have happened, I guarantee you some of those people I met that day to this day would say, I bet you that motherfucker had it and didn't even know, and he could have gave it to me. So, but member outside. Yeah. So, no, when I say kiss, Anthony, I mean like a kiss on the cheek. You know, hello, goodbye, appreciation, thank you. You know, I'm I'm gonna, like, I don't want to say physical guy, but even like some Italians in my neighborhood, we give, men kiss on the cheek. It's not any, sexual thing, but it's an Italian thing. There's some of my customers. I mean, we don't do it right now because of what's going on. We just give like a little, bump. But Anthony, I wouldn't. I said this before. The only man that I would really like give like not a kiss on the lip, but the only man I ever felt comfortable giving a kiss to was my father, or a hug. Drake Maverick was the second person recently that I would have gave a hug to after seeing that video. And could we leave with this? Could we leave with this? I see online how many people are a little bit upset at the Drake Maverick storyline. No matter what the outcome, some people hate it. Some people are like, well, if he ends up being released anyway, it's fucked up because they dragged him along for another 90 days. And again, like I've said before, some people who have, lived out their contract and jobbed out and, worked leaving the company, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, probably the two most infamous ones. They didn't just wake up one day and say, hey, yo, I'm leaving. No, they fucking worked matches. I remember Scott Hall, Razor Ramon taking on Vader. They worked. They finished out their contract. And if you say to me right now, oh, Drake Maverick doesn't have a contract right now, well, you're wrong. Because a lot of those wrestlers right now that were released, they have 90-day no-compete. They're getting paid for the next 90 days. They're probably getting pandemic unemployment on top of the money WWE is giving them. So nobody is being let go and getting paid nothing unless it was an outright release. But with Drake Maverick, oh, well, if they release him after this tournament, it's fucked up because they kept him hanging on a string. Something tells me, I guarantee you actually, Drake Maverick knows his future in WWE. If WWE keeps him after all of this, it was not a swerve. Some people, I think it was, and I don't ever criticize Brian Alvarez, but there was a Brian and Vinny show where they kind of said like they wouldn't put it past WWE to announce a whole bunch of releases and throw in someone who is a storyline. There's no fucking way. I don't recall WWE ever announcing a list of releases and mixed in when there was a storyline. If you're going to make a claim like that, put up an example. That's what I say. But if Drake Maverick stays, there is only one reason why he's staying. And it's not that WWE lied to us or Drake Maverick swerved us. It's because WWE, you've heard the term, and I've said it before, you've heard the term buyer's remorse. WWE probably had seller's remorse. Never expected the kind of love that Drake Maverick got after that video. They were in regular news shows. I saw an NBC affiliate in some fucking state talking about Maverick's video. I don't know if it went viral, but it was a big deal. But, if you pay close attention to EC3, he's got a good friendship with Drake Maverick. And when I see EC3 writing on Drake Maverick's wall and saying he's Rockstar Spud, you keep calling him Rockstar Spud, I start to think this guy may not be sticking around in WWE. Because if you keep pushing Spud, he's got a t-shirt, Spud, go Spud, go. And you have other wrestlers calling him Rockstar Spud, he still has the WWE, character and name right now because he's still in the middle of a storyline. It almost feels like if he's let go, it almost feels like instead of him staying home for 90 days and getting paid, he decided to work for 90 days and getting paid. That's how it works sometimes. But it does concern me of how many Rockstar Spud references are going around online. Because if he was going to be staying, I don't think that would be pushed as much as it was. There's always that rare possibility that WWE may have said to him, we'll decide after 30 days, 60 days, whatever it is. One thing is for certain, this storyline is not going 90 days. You know, if you really think about it, this storyline is going to go maybe 6 weeks tops, maybe 8 at the most. I mean, you think about the record, everybody has, 3 matches against each other? They have 3 matches. So a lot of them already had 2. So it's either 3 or 4 matches apiece, and then they start So this tournament is a lot more closer to finishing than you think. So, but anyway, everybody, it's been real. I hope you all enjoyed it. On the way out, if you enjoyed the show, like I said, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, because we're approaching 11,000. And as soon as we hit 15,000, Mish and I will be doing another challenge. It seems to be leaning towards the Bean Boozled challenge, if you know what that is. Those are jelly beans. If you go on Amazon, type in Bean Boozled. It's a jelly bean company, and they have like a box of jelly beans. And some of them are real good flavors, and some of them are gags. And what they do is you can't tell what is what. I'll give you an example. You'll have red, blue, white, orange jelly beans. And the color, they have 2 different flavors for the same color. One of the orange jelly beans might taste like orange. Another one of the orange jelly beans might taste like someone's crotch. You have a blue jelly bean, it might taste like raspberry ice cream. You might have another blue one, and it might taste like fish. That's what this Bean Boozled challenge is. I was looking for something to challenge Mish, and they have on Amazon, I kid you not, go look it up. They have chocolate-covered cockroaches. They have salt and vinegar, ranch-flavored, barbecue-flavored cockroaches. They have tarantulas that have been cleaned or whatever. You could buy shit like this on Amazon. I would never, ever, ever, I don't care what people, I would never, ever, never. But he would. So I'm thinking when we get to 15,000, we'll let everybody vote. What do you want me to endure? What do you want him to endure? But seriously, I think we're going to have him eat cockroaches and tarantulas, and me, I'll probably have jelly beans that'll taste like shit, and there's one that's throw up, one that's boogers. I swear to God, I know some people will be like, yeah, right, but I've never, ever picked my nose and put it in my mouth like little kids do. But how they come up with the flavor booger, I have no idea. But there's so many challenges, but that one chip was painful, man. That shit was painful. How is so many of you still tuning in? This is awesome, man. But I haven't been talking about EC3 for 3 hours, man. If you go back, I probably talked about him for about 6 or 7 minutes. You know, the guy's reinventing himself. And you know what? Since you brought that up, you just forced me to talk another 30 seconds about him. But I'm going to get out of here, everybody. You know, remember that even though this video finishes, I still got to edit because there are people out there that want audio only. So I got to put up audio versions of this. I got to go back and see if there's anything in the synopsis that I need to add to it. But I appreciate all your support more than you know. Keep sending your feedback. Keep spreading the word. If you know anyone out there that you think would enjoy this show, let them know about it. You know, post it online. You know, and you know, I'll be back. I'll be back Friday with your next show. So everyone, be well. Much love, and I will catch you all again Friday. Ciao.
Don-O-Mite.
It was fun to channel surf. It was kind of hard to do a little pocket pool after you hitting the last channel button 50 times for 2 hours plus.
Don-O-Mite.
And his whole idea of overanalyzing, oh, he's an alcoholic and he misplaced the belt. And how could you have someone champion like that? The fuck out of here.
Wednesday night.
Don-O-Mite, you can have fun. You really are.